HELSTAF. Fade in. Exterior, South Pacific, day. A China Peace Swift boat cruises the shoreline. Jackie, 24, Asian, studies a GPS navigation map on the dash.
We're far enough away now. They'll never figure out we've dropped off the package.
Still, we better not break radio silence yet.
Bruce, 35, Asian, steers through calm seas. They approach a remote island as the sun sets, putting the mountainous terrain in colorful silhouette.
Wait, what was that? A flash of light, did you see it?
Bruce points towards a tall, shiny object jutting above the island terrain. Jackie screws a zoom lens onto a video camera, stands up, steadies herself, and zooms in.
Looks like a water tower.
Jackie shows Bruce the video screen. Immediately, he punches the gas. Full throttle roar.
It's one of those damn long-range microwave surveillance towers.
Gunshot sound. There's a flash to starboard. A destroyer appears, heading for them at flank speed. The ship is painted black from stem to stern. Crew members scurrying into action wear all black uniforms.
Send the video out. Hurry!
Frantic, Jackie works the controls at a communications console.
They're jamming all the frequencies.
Interior, Antarctica. Ice Station Terror. Lab office, night. Waco, 35. Strong, rugged, vague southern accent. Watching the previous scenes on a large TV screen from an easy chair, has a bowl of popcorn in his lap. Waco feeds bits of popcorn to a vague shape on the floor. Only its orange beak is visible. He switches channels. On TV, newscast. Publicity clip shows a graphic of the solar system, with a giant comet of plasma breaking off the sun and streaming directly for Earth.
Science missions from the US and China converging on the South Pole to study the giant solar flares coming in a few days, the largest solar superstorm in history.
A video simulation shows a huge solar flare crashing into Earth, shorting out the International Space Station, the Hubble telescope, and thousands of satellites.
The last solar superstorm to hit Earth was in 1859. There was a very close call in 2012. If this one hits square on, it'll obliterate our electronic infrastructure. It'll take decades to recover.
Switch to a frazzled reporter on the White House lawn.
Scientists are totally caught by surprise. There's no way to predict these major solar flare events. At most we get, 3 days notice, max. They tell me only the paranoid lunatic fringe would prepare for an event like this.
Videos of hearings in Congress, President Trump, and large violent protests on the screen in Kiev, Ukraine.
Just in, investigations in Ukraine following corruption allegations made in the impeachment trial of Donald Trump have uncovered 2 missing Soviet-era nuclear weapons.
Grainy black and white images of military personnel protecting a large stockpile of bombs, missiles, and armaments, all with nuclear hazard signals.
Ukraine had almost 2,000 nuclear warheads after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They were turned over to Russia in the Budapest Agreement, signed in 1994.
On TV screen, Tonga Island. Clear images appear from the China Peace Swift boat, firing constantly. The destroyer gains on them.
We shouldn't panic. If we run, they'll know for sure. Chill.
Jackie zooms in on the destroyer, flying a black flag.
It all depends on who they are. Americans, we can bluff. Oh, God. Their flag. It's Godzilla.
It's the Black Dragons.
Artillery shells explode all around the Swift boat. Back to scene. Waco leans forward, tense, wrapped up in the action. On TV screen, Tonga Island. The destroyer comes into view. Colonel Jinn, 40, thin, gaunt face, all black Special Forces military fatigues, halting Chinese accent, stands on the bridge. A flag with a dragon-esque icon flutters behind him.
Every GPS satellite has an emergency frequency that lets you upload an SOS. Hack them!
In the distance, the ballistic missile roars to life and lifts off in a plume of fire and smoke. Bruce's bloody face appears on the screen.
They're on to you, Dr. Doom. Watch your 6!
The screen is splattered with fresh, bright red blood. Back to scene. Apprehensive and tense, Waco stares at the screen, talking to the shadow of a pet nearby.
Relax, Zeppo. It's just Panda News Network. The underground in Red China. Fake blood. Nice sheen, though. Excellent viscosity.
Holding a stomach, Waco stands up and hurries into a nearby bathroom and throws up. A small shadow of a pet paddles behind Waco. Waco steps out of the bathroom and turns on overhead lights. The large space is illuminated with hanging pendants. It's partitioned into an apartment, lab/office, and shop spaces. Waco punches a couple of buttons on the TV remote, and a block of text appears on the screen. Broadcast frequency. Searching. The readout steadies on a single number. Waco pulls a radio frequency reference manual and flips through it.
I so have a bad feeling about this.
The pet he's addressing and has been feeding is Zeppo, a Gen 2 penguin. The animal sits in a deep pan of crushed ice, munching on popcorn, right out of Waco's bowl. Waco rushes over and grabs the bowl away from Zeppo.
Stop. It wasn't a movie. Should have known it wasn't Hollywood blood.
Zeppo glares at him.
Popcorn's bad for your digestion.
Zeppo acts flustered, climbs out of his big tub of ice, and heads towards an outside door. Waco follows him slowly.
I wish I could just put all this behind me and go home too.
A gust of wind kicks the door open, which gives a glimpse of the harsh Arctic landscape in the midst of a blizzard. Zeppo bolts outside. Waco stares out the door. His scrawny beard quickly glazes over with ice and snow from the frigid air. Seconds later, Zeppo hurries back inside, shaking the snow off his shivering wings. He runs over and dives into his pan of ice. Waco gets the door closed and throws the bolt.
No warm comfort bath for me.
Waco goes to the lab office and hustles to an electronic console.
If that's their frequency...
A holograph of Antarctica around Ice Station Terror, and the space above it fills the large room. 7 red arcs of light trace ballistic trajectories over the southern hemisphere. The trajectories intercept over the South Pole and Ross Ice Shelf. Zeppo makes small sounds. Waco talks silently to them.
We can't panic. Too late to blow it now. Act normal. Deep breath. What would normal do?
Waco fires up a video console and keys in a password at a NASA secure online portal. Exterior, South Pacific, Tonga Island, day. The destroyer comes into view, bearing down on the swift boat at flank speed. A round from the black destroyer explodes square on the China Peace swift boat. The destroyer rams the swift boat, blowing it to smithereens. Exterior, Ice Station Terror, lab office, night. Dr. Burkowski, 65, tall, thick Russian accent, gold-rimmed glasses, appears on the video screen in front of Waco.
What? 0 dark 30.
Waco points to the holograph display behind him. He's very excited, full of animated body language.
Hey, Pops. I just intercepted a coded video from some eco-activists in Tonga. Then this warships went...
Slow down. Blurt out one concept at a time, please. Tonga. Did you say Tonga?
Package delivered, they said. Then a black destroyer attacked. Boom, boom!
You've got to get the hell out of there before the solar flare hits. We've been burned.
Some kind of microwave surveillance net? See it there? I'm smack dab in the crosshairs. What do I do?
Shut the F up, idiot. You must evacuate. It is urgent.
Flustered, Waco throws his arms up, starts to object.
If you don't believe me, I'll send you the video clip. Then...
OMG. What's that on the screen behind you? Waco, look it.
A strong arm reaches in front of Burkowski and pulls him aside. The screen goes blank. Waco keeps talking, too worked up to notice the blank screen.
They were China Peace activists. They said then... Mr. Z? Hello? Come back!
Behind Waco, the trajectory screen refreshes to a new graphic, a missile trajectory converging on the Ice Station Terror.
What's wrong, Zeppo?
The screen behind Waco flashes a warning. Incoming! A raucous alarm sounds. Waco turns to stare at the holograph screen.
What the damnation?
There's a crash to the rear of the station, and half the lights in the room go out. Zeppo comes running past Waco and dives into a big tub of ice. Only his little orange feet are visible.
Zeppo! What have you done this time? Bad penguin!
Waco hurries to the rear of the station and disappears through a door that reads, Extreme Danger, Off Limits. Scrawled underneath the block letters on the door, that means you, Zeppo. Exterior, Ross C, U.S. Carrier, Flight Deck, day. A Tomcat zooms off the flight deck, wrenched forward by a steam catapult. As the fighter jet roars away, steam rises from fittings, drifts across the deck, and condenses on exposed surfaces, freezing instantly. Interior, Ross C., U.S. carrier, bridge, day. Admiral Ashray, 65, stout, harsh New York City accent, strong arms Dr. Bukowski away from a video terminal as another officer severs the video link. Ashray hauls the old man over to the panoramic window at the head of the bridge. Outside the forward window, a threatening, angry sea rages. Around Ashray are the standard U.S. Navy personnel, all in long-sleeve khaki uniforms over black long johns. They all wear U.S. Space Command shoulder patches. In the distance, over the Ross ice shelf, a cruise missile arcs across the horizon, strikes a small cluster of buildings, and explodes in a crescendo of flames.
He knows nothing. Didn't you hear him? He's a total idiot, clueless. You killed him.
Ashray motions to U.S. Marine Corps General Volk, 65, giant of a man, Texas drawl, in camouflage combat fatigues.
Lock him in a brig.
I'll do better than that.
No, you won't.
General Volk grabs Burkowski and hauls him towards the exit hatch. The old man fights them every inch of the way.
You cannot do this. I am senior NASA research scientist. I have diplomatic immunity. I've had my shots. Why? I hate commie pinko bastards like you.
General Volk gives Burkowski a vicious swat and hauls him away. Ashray steps up to Big Eyes, giant binoculars, and scans the debris from the missile strike. He steps away and picks up a microphone, staring out the forward window.
Top dog to Superflight. Come in.
This is Super, over.
Infrared sensors detect thermal images. Finish the job, over.
Aye, aye, sir. Super out.
Blow 'em to Kingdom Come. Some people get to have all the fun.
Out of the forward windows, the Tomcat arcs toward shore, levels off, and releases its payload of cruise missiles, targeted on the burning debris. Interior, Ice Station Terror, cold room, night. Waco squints through a haze of smoke into a room full of massively parallel computers, lights blinking, sparks exploding everywhere from a major hit.
They were both right. China peace. Dr. Z, we've been found out.
There's a giant explosion as the main research station takes a direct hit, then another hit, another.
Come on, dude. We've got to get that package out to the launch tower before they ruin everything.
Waco grabs Zeppo and rushes out of the mayhem with the little penguin cradled into his arms. Exterior, Ice Station Terror, day. The sun hovers out to the horizon in an endless sunrise. There's a thick fog out to sea, obscuring the aircraft carrier. Super, Ross Ice Shelf, Antarctica. Zeppo pops out of the ocean and slides to a stop near Waco, who's studying data at a remote weather station setup. Behind them, the research station has been obliterated. Zeppo watches Waco unpack a small crate labeled NASA Weather Balloon. He pulls a ripcord, and the small balloon inflates from a helium canister. Afraid, Zeppo steps back as the balloon inflates. Then he just scurries away to hide.
I didn't mean to scream at you, Zeppo. Are we okay here?
Waco ties a wad of aluminum foil to the balloon, then releases it. He watches it drift slowly upward.
I sure hope there's still somebody down range at McMurdo to see this.
Exterior, Ross Bay, pier, later. Waco, wrapped in a thick wool emergency blanket, steels himself against the bitter cold, huddled in the wreckage, out of the stiff wind. He cradles a satellite phone in his hands.
Nobody cares. Served me right for not making any friends down here.
Static comes out of the satellite phone, then a voice. New Orleans accent.
This is McMurdo Sound responding to your distress signal. Come in, please. Is this Ice Station Terror?
Waco stands up, pacing with extreme frustration.
Waco, can you hear me? This is me, Jaxx. Halloween party, out.
Zeppo makes a little chirping sound like he's talking back.
We can't send Zeppo. Just receive. Phone's half broken.
Zeppo makes a rushed series of loud clicks, punctuated by an animated body language.
Hush, I need to hear this.
I'm not going to risk my neck if there's no one out there. I don't even know where it is. Can you do something? Do you have any signal flares? Some damn thing?
Waco pulls his gloves off and opens the back of the satellite phone. He disconnects the leads to the keypad and touches them. There's a squawk on the satellite phone.
Yes, I received. Is this Dr. Waco? 1 click, yes. 2 clicks, no.
Waco does one squawk. He He turns his back to a stiff gust of wind. Zeppo hears the squawk and moves closer to listen.
S-H-I-T. The explosion? Was that you?
Rolling his eyes, Waco does one squawk.
I saw the fireball from the explosion last night. The flames on the horizon. Fighter jets, afterburners. What the hell's going on? Crap, you can't answer.
Waco does two squawks. The wind's so strong now, he has to brace himself against the twisted steel wreckage. There's a long pause before she responds.
Waco, there's a major storm moving in. As in right now, dig yourself into some shelter immediately. I'll get there as soon as I can.
Waco does one squawk, then turns the phone off and tucks it away in his heavy Arctic parka. Zeppo has to fight against the blustery wind now. He jumps into a dive and slides down an incline towards the shore, ending up at a small dock. Zeppo waves his arms, afraid of the cold, and dives into the heavy surf. Waco struggles down to the dock, grabs a small skiff there, and hauls it back to the wreckage. He props it up and fills around the edges with snow, then climbs inside. Heavy snow starts falling, driven horizontal by the now gale-force winds. Waco's shelter disappears into a snowdrift almost immediately. Exterior, Ross Bay, pier, day. Jaxx, 25, dark, exotic features, appears on the horizon driving a heavy-duty snowmobile, towing a small trailer on skids. The winter storm has burned itself out. There's no sign of the wreckage now. Everything is covered in a heavy blanket of snow and ice. Thick fog obscures the ocean, so the shoreline is barely visible. Jack stops at an odd ice peninsula jutting into the ocean. She gets out, steps over, tests it with one careful foot. She gets her footing, then brushes aside the snow to reveal the small pier. She steps over to turn off the snowmobile, then starts searching. After a short recon, she pulls out her satellite phone and dials a number.
Hey, it's me, Jaxx. Are you there?
There's one squawk on her phone.
Can you enable GPS tracking? Does it still function?
There's one squawk on her phone. She punches up a tracking map, zeroes in on one spot, and starts digging there. She pauses to catch her breath, talking into the phone.
Hey, stupid, get your lazy ass and start digging. I'm right above you. Dig, dog, dig!
She steps away to sit down on the snowmobile to rest. She grabs a thermos, pours herself a cup of hot coffee, and cradles it in her hands. The snow implodes where she'd been digging, and a snowbound Waco climbs out. He shakes it off, then hurries over to the snowmobile. She hands him her coffee, but he brushes it aside.
Start the snowmobile. Please!
She does as he asks, watching as Waco's shaking hands unravel a cord from under his parka.
You got a 12 volts DC plug on this thing?
She points. Waco plugs his cord in, then curls up in a ball at her feet. He shows her a thin layer of flat batteries.
Never been so cold in all my born days. Batteries ran out hours ago.
She slips a hand into his parka and opens it up, following the electrical cord.
Electric long johns.
Never step outside without them. Hey, I'm from South Texas. Cold is the mother of all my fears.
I grew up in Nolens. Doesn't bother me one little bit.
She digs into the trailer and gets a bag of crunchy trail mix, hands it to him. He gobbles it down by the fistful.
I thought they ordered everybody to evacuate on account of the solar superstorm coming tomorrow.
I was on my way out when we spotted your makeshift balloon rig from the medevac chopper. Clever.
Several penguins pop out of the surf and start rooting around in the debris for bits of food. Popcorn, bread, dried produce. Jaxx watches them, smiling for the first time.
And you didn't come to get me yesterday?
In gale force winds. Besides, they had orders to get the hell out of Dodge, cowards. Been through hurricanes way worse than this.
Waco gets up and walks around to get the blood going in his legs.
It's a major solar storm, lady. Aren't you afraid? We'll be crispy critters if we don't...
She pads alongside him as they stroll along the shoreline, watching the penguins cavort in the surf. It's still very foggy, but sunlight is thinning out the heavy mist.
So you stayed behind to rescue me. How romantic.
In your dreams, mister.
Waco smiles, winding up for a witty response, then stops cold, looking out to sea.
Oh, God. Did you see that?
She turns to look where he points, squinting into the distance. Suddenly all the penguins freeze, then run for cover, diving into the snow or back into the surf.
Penguin saw it. Why didn't you see it? Come on!
Waco grabs her arms and hauls her back towards the snowmobile, quickly, then practically running, She yanks her arm away.
Stop that. I didn't see squat. What are you doing?
Waco grabs her again and forcibly hauls her to the snowmobile, sits her in the driver's seat, and starts it up.
We've got to find cover. Go! Drive, girl! Get us behind that snowdrift.
There's a break in the fog, and suddenly the aircraft carrier is right there, front and center. Frantic now, Jack puts the snowmobile in gear and rips through the light-packed snow and behind a massive 30-foot ice cliff. She stops and turns the motor off.
Why are we running? We should be calling for them to rescue us.
She pulls out her satellite phone to make a call, but Waco yanks it away from her.
Stop! They're the ones who called in the strike yesterday.
Don't be paranoid.
I saw it on my Stratosphere overlay app. A Tomcat fighter jet releasing a bundle of missiles. Boom. Boom!
Jaxx is numb, speechless.
The holographic range and rig you told me about? You got it working? Thought you were just bragging. Anything to get in her pants.
If I could change my satellite phone, if I could charge my satellite phone, I'd show you. Worked, didn't it?
She digs into a side compartment, pulls out a cord, and plugs his satellite phone into a DC outlet.
Now wait just 1 minute.
I've got 12 million penguins to save from that damn solar event. Suit yourself.
Waco moves away and starts digging in the snow, pulling out bits of debris as he goes. Jack steps over to give him a half-hearted hand.
How's that gonna...
Waco points towards a metal superstructure half a mile away.
The balloon and the ozone rescue package are safe and sound over at the launch tower. I just need the launch code module. Bright orange box. Can't miss it. Hurry!
They blew up your ice station, they'll sure as hell blow up your science balloon.
Not if they don't see it.
Except, if you're trying to save us from the solar flare, then why...
They don't know we're still alive. They won't be looking for anything. Nobody on the bridge radar but one officer of the watch after midnight. Probably asleep at the helm. No bogies at all down here to track, much less detect.
There's a beep beep sound from the snowmobile. They stop digging and step over there. His sat phone is charged up. Waco pulls up a holographic display and flips through the recorded video clips.
So you really did go to Annapolis. That wasn't braggadocio either?
Yes and no. I was there for 2 years.
She takes a dig into his shoulder playfully.
You dropped out?
Hey, I was ranked near the top of my class. I just got into some trouble is all. Kicked me out.
Hence the decorated Marine pot?
Hey, the Marines love bad guys like me.
She stops him at a video of Zeppo dancing in the surf.
I want one of these things. Where'd you get it? Holographic?
It's one of a kind. I made it.
She stares at him, shocked, as if he finds the video of the missile strikes, and shows it to her.
It's an artificial intelligence algorithm. Majestic, I call her.
Jesus, what is this thing? The computing power to do that must be astronomical.
He turns off the sat phone and plugs it back into the charger. Waco steps back, thinking hard.
Great idea, girl. I'll send an overload signal to the orange control box, and we can find it from the feedback noise.
Waco pulls up an app, dials up the signal strength. A piercing sound comes from the wreckage. They run over and dig like mad until they find the orange box.
Okay, we're all set until the graveyard shift.
Waco scoots over close to her, but she gets up and moves to root around in the snowmobile trailer.
Come on, you can't have eaten for over a day now. Let's make a meal.
Waco helps her set up a small tent. They crawl inside, set up a field kitchen, and fix a hot meal.
Thanks, Jaxx. You're good people.
I am not. I'm just an adrenaline junkie, and right now, you're the best show around.
Exterior, Ross Bay, balloon launch tower, night. Wearing snowshoes, Waco and Jaxx pad up to a structural steel tower under the light of a full moon. Snow flurries swirl around in light winds in the still night. Waco carries the orange control box. Waco motions for Jaxx to help him haul a tarp off of a NASA ozone rescue package, a large crate sitting at the base of the tower. He uses a jagged hunting knife to cut loose thick ropes binding the sides of the package. Jack turns on a flashlight to light his way, but Waco hurries over to cover the light beam.
Turn that thing out!
Afraid, he stares out over the bay at the aircraft carrier, lit up brightly, with people scurrying all over the deck.
You swore everyone would be sound asleep.
Waco muscles open a second NASA high-altitude balloon crate, hooks it up to a helium tank, and starts inflating it. As the balloon fills, he hustles to hook to the top to a guy wire. With Jaxx's help, they pull hard on the guy wire attached to the peak of the tower so the balloon fills upward.
Any minute now, zoom zoom comes a tomcat to straight us dead.
Their radar just sees the steel tower. We're safe. For now.
The balloon is full. Waco disconnects the tank and taps off the balloon with a steel screw cap. Jaxx helps him hook up the ozone rescue package to a rig at the base of the balloon.
How can they not see us? Look at all the commotion on the flight deck.
They must be rigging up for the solar flare to hit. We're at ground zero. Great place to gather data.
Sure, if you're protected by 6 inches of case-hardened steel.
Angrily, Waco hits a lever. They both step back and watch. Slowly, very slowly, the balloon lifts the NASA ozone rescue package off the launch tower. They step back to watch it rise, lit dramatically by the bright moon.
What, pray tell, are we rigging up here?
The ozone layer will block the solar flare's dangerous UV radiation everywhere else in the world.
Except down here, we have no ozone on account of the ozone hole up there. I get it, but...
All that high energy will hit the ground and kill all the plankton, the penguin's primary food source.
Oh God, they'll starve to death. That's gruesome.
Our experiment is supposed to dump a bunch of ozone up there to plug up the ozone hole.
They snowshoe back to the snowmobile, parked a short distance away, where Waco opens the orange controls package and turns it on. They stare at the control screen, their tense, worried faces reflected in the orange glow from the device. Interior, Ross C. U.S. carrier, bridge, night. Admiral Ashray stands on the bridge, dim accent lighting, staring out the bay window at a gaggle of people rigging up a complex machine out on the flight deck below. General Volk stands next to him in combat fatigues, as always. A small man, Colonel Jinn, 55, tall, thin, Asian, in a 3-piece suit, steps onto the bridge and goes to stand beside Ashray. The Admiral talks over his shoulder to the weapons officer.
Weapons. Charge Lars to maximum strength.
Weapons. We're under attack?
Ashray and Volk glare at Colonel Jinn.
At least we're not still at the Pentagon, surrounded by wimpy bureaucrats like that feller yonder.
The Admiral glances sideways to the Colonel, then rivets his attention on a tube-shaped armament deploying on the flight deck.
Lars, laser ranging system. Maintains a real-time link to all military satellites over the southern hemisphere.
A deep, vibrating hum begins as the Lars powers up.
Lars will give us a 3D view of the solar flare when it hits Earth.
Should we be trying to stop it?
Not our job. Not a goddamn thing we can do but sit on our behinds and collect data for the squints back home.
Several Navy personnel man various consoles. The already dim bridge lights go out completely, and digital readouts on the bridge equipment switch to an orange night glow. Colonel Jinn thinks hard, scratching his head.
Okay, already. It's a hyperfast anti-aircraft radar ranging system designed to defend against a swarm of attack drones. Got that?
Vaguely, at first. Then in 3D high definition, a satellite drifts across the room.
There's China's solar analysis satellite. Your people won't get but a fraction of the data that we'll get with the Lars system.
A balloon appears at floor level, drifting upward. Colonel Jinn panics, pointing at the display.
No, the balloon. It's heading straight for our satellite.
I thought we destroyed that goddamn balloon experiment.
A bright laser beam shoots across the display. Ashray gets on the hole.
Weapons! Target the effing bogey!
There's a bright flash in the graph. Abruptly, the satellite and NASA balloon images disappear. The bright laser beam fades away.
Bulldog, get that damn civilian off my bridge.
My pleasure, sir. Effing pleasure. Tommy's got no business on our bridge here anyway. What's this world coming to? Oh, red Chinese.
ID that laser beam. Where'd it come from?
General Volk grabs Colonel Jinn and hauls him to the exit, just as an emergency klaxon sounds. Exterior, Ross Ice Shelf, night. Waco and Jaxx exit the snowmobile to stretch their legs. The moon has slipped below the horizon, leaving a canopy of bright, colorful stars. They stare upward in wonder.
How did us two Southerners end up way down here in the coldest place on Earth?
The best place in the whole world to test your limits. Cold as hell, totally isolated, never more than a split second away from instant death.
I just wanted to study the ozone layer. Figure out who's making Freon 11 again. Violating the Montreal Protocol. The Freon ban.
Got a day job at McMurdo Sound doing their tech analysis. The Mars Society paid my way down here, testing survivability for human missions to Mars.
A bright laser beam arcs across the sky, then fades away in a rainbow of colors.
They hit on me, too. Adios, amigos.
You don't seem the dreamer type. Never figured out how it would be.
Talk about isolated. There's a veritable crowd over at McMurdo.
Look, a shooting star. Got no wishes left to make me.
Thick contrails arc out of the black cloud mass.
We're not due for the Paris-said meteor shower for 6 weeks.
Maybe the solar flare's getting closer. You're the big ego scientist.
Projectiles impact the landscape. Clouds of steam erupt as more and objects crater into the snow.
Meteors, hell! That's debris from an atmospheric detonation. Run for cover!
Waco grabs Jaxx and hurries her back to the launch tower, where they huddle under a thick metal plate stabilizing the lower legs of the superstructure. A sudden flurry of wind-blown snow whites out everything. Exterior, U.S. carrier, flying bridge, day. Ashray stands on a balcony, one step outside the covered bridge, watching a vast thundercloud grow over Antarctica.
Skipper, looks like the mushroom cloud from an atom bomb.
Fighting heavy seas, Ashray lurches up to the big eyes, giant binoculars affixed to the superstructure. Through the big eyes. Breaking through the clouds and ocean spray, there's a glimpse of sunlight reflecting off a giant white geodesic dome a few miles inland from the wreckage of Waco's research station.
Oh, God. The explosion melted the snow cover off HELSTAF.
Damn!
Jesus H. Christ. Sure isn't what I expected. That place is gigantic.
There's something in the foreground. A building tsunami.
They'll see it from space. Google Earth. All the white dome and snow? Stealth engineered to cast no shadows? Not enough contrast for their cameras.
Screw the solar flare. Our number one priority is keeping HELSTAF a secret. Numero uno.
A swell rolls towards the carrier, a wall of water sweeping icebergs in its wake. Back to scene. Ashray runs towards the bridge, yelling.
Left full rudder. Steady on bearing. 220. Flank speed.
Interior, U.S. carrier, bridge, continuous. Ashray hurries onto the bridge. The helmsman is frantic.
I can hardly steer. All those...
Damn the icebergs. Full steam ahead.
The helmsman makes a hard left turn, spinning the wheel, desperate. The carrier lurches, and the crew grabs on for dear life.
Engine room answers 4 bells, Skipper. Steady on 220.
Exterior, ice station, terror. Launch tower, day. Raging blizzard underway. Waco and Jaxx huddle under the launch tower canopy. Jaxx pulls debris out of the snow. Waco steps over to examine it.
This isn't ours. Chinese writing. Must be from their solar flare satellite.
A large metal fragment falls nearby. Waco squats down beside the curved metal construction and examines it carefully.
This is from the package we sent up, all right? Damn it to hell. You were right. They shot it down. Didn't get high enough. Not even close.
Staring at Waco, Jaxx is horrified.
It's like an atom bomb went off just there right now. Did you see the laser beam right before?
Waco turns the fragment over, revealing a radiation warning symbol. Jaxx stares at it, horrified.
That was your experiment? Please, tell me China's satellite was nuclear powered.
Waco shrugs it off.
How else are you going to disperse a load of ozone inside the entire Arctic Circle in a split second? Hey, all the computer simulations worked. DARPA signed off on it.
Jaxx grabs him by the collar, shaking him like a rag doll.
You said your penguin rescue experiment was funded by the Audubon Society.
They did contribute. Some. A little bit. Very little. Pocket change.
And the NASA logo? Was that just for fun?
DARPA had to do that to get it through customs.
Jaxx shakes Waco so hard his teeth rattle.
Customs? You check nuclear weapons through customs? Whose customs? Who made that damn thing?
Russia. Russia made it. Ukraine?
The Ukraine heist? You! The whole damn world is looking for that nuke. Everybody, everywhere.
Jaxx screams and runs away, arms flailing, fists flinging. Waco yells after her.
Hey, it was for a good cause. And they don't have to look no more, do they? Boom! Boom! Problem solved.
Exterior, U.S. carrier, flight deck day. An angry sea pitches and rolls the aircraft carrier. Ashray chews out a ground crew member for a frozen fuel line.
Fire up every ounce of steam we can generate. Steam! I need more steam. I need fuel here, full capacity. God, I love action. Give me action.
The Admiral paces in front of 24 pilots, roaring orders at them with the force of a bazooka.
Get your asses up here! Keep your stations! Nobody's to enter airspace inside the entire Arctic Circle. No planes, no boats, no bird, no whales, no goats!
General Volk watches from nearby. Ashray grabs him.
Get ashore and clean up that mess. No witnesses, no evidence, nothing. HELSTAF is the best kept secret in the universe. Understood?
Damn good thing I brought along my battalion and their heavy armor.
General Volk motions to a couple of Marines, and they hustle towards a USMC chopper, climb aboard, and start the engine. The chopper lifts off, toting a giant snowmobile underneath. Interior, U.S. carrier, officer's mess, day. The place is empty but for 2 cooks behind the counter. Tables are full of dishes and meals abandoned in a hurry. Burkowski eats, conscious of the 2 MPs hovering behind them. He talks quietly in their direction.
Forgot what I was missing in States. Burgers and fries.
A jet takes off above decks, and they pipe down. The 2 MPs turn their backs, watching a big screen TV. Burkowski jumps up and spirits away, disappearing into the entrails of the kitchen. Interior, U.S. carrier, bridge, day. Ashray huddles with his officers around a video table.
Remember the cafe assault and Saddam Hussein's troops in the first Iraq War? Air Ops 24/7. Yes! Fire in the sky!
Sir, we hacked this video on the old man's cell phone.
The chief engineer rolls a found footage video of the Tomcat missile strikes on Ice Station Terror.
Turn him over to that special representative from the White House, Colonel Jinn. Chinese diplomatic passport, solar flare liaison. What's that mean?
He's in lockup now, sir. Can't do no more harm.
Everybody reels back as Ashray yells an answer.
Do I look like a pasty diplomat? Am I tactful? Tolerant?
Colonel Jinn it is, sir.
Interior, U.S. carrier, cruise library, day. The library is empty but for 1 clerk at the front desk. 2 MPs wrestle Burkowski in and set him down. The MPs sit nearby, eyes peeled on the old man. Later, 2 Navy officers, 40s, 1 bald and 1 fat, stride into the library. The Navy officers spot Burkowski. They confront the MPs.
He's supposed to be in the brig.
Stop. We belong. Our orders.
New orders.
The fat Navy officer draws his weapon.
Put that away.
The bald Navy officer draws his weapon. The 2 MPs back away, hands held out, wary.
Relax, Podunk. We're leaving now. Just you go and watch us.
All eyes in the library to an urgent news bulletin on a giant TV screen as the sound turns way up. On TV screen, newscast. NASA images of an explosion over the Ross ice shelf show the repercussions expanding the size of the ozone hole.
A giant explosion over Antarctica has doubled the size of the ozone hole. NASA scientists say that a huge solar superstorm coming could melt the whole polar ice cap, with no ozone layer to stop it. Low-lying areas are already being evacuated throughout the Pacific Basin.
Burkowski sneaks into the shadows and out of the room while everyone is distracted by this newscast.
China doesn't make nuclear-powered satellites anymore. Oh my god.
The Lars can identify the energy signature of the bomb. Come on.
The MPs hurry away. The 2 Navy officers look around, then draw their weapons and bolt out of the compartment. Interior, U.S. carrier, side corridors, day. Burkowski bolts down a narrow hallway.
Halt! You're under arrest.
Just then, a seaman opens a hatch at the far end of the corridor. Burkowski runs right through the open hatch into the arms of the 2 Navy officers, who wrestle him into handcuffs. Interior, U.S. carrier, bridge, night. Admiral Ashray, the chief engineer, and the 2 Navy officers study a 3D color graphic of the satellite explosion, projected by the Lars system.
Can you tell from the energy signature what exploded?
It was a nuke. Russian, we think. Old style. Soviet. As in the missing Budapest Agreement nukes.
Send an eyes-only flash to the Pentagon. Now. We've got to recover that second nuclear warhead. Now!
The officers clear the decks, leaving behind a pensive Ashray.
I haven't done clandestine search and destroy missions since swift boating on the Mekong Delta. Scary, damn scary. Give me more scary.
Exterior, Ice Station Terror, night. A helicopter sets down near what's left of Waco's research station. The new temporary buildings are a total wreck, like they were hit by a tornado. Colonel Jinn and his MIB, men in black, special forces, commando types, dressed in black fatigues, exit the helicopter and fan out. There's just enough light out from an endless Arctic dawn for them to get around without flashlights. Colonel Jinn yells at his men.
Fools! Find every last fragment of our spy satellite.
Penguins watch from a ridge nearby.
Damn, my baby girl Elvis would love to see penguins in the wild. Love to.
Later, 2 MIB hold up a giant printout of Waco's cruise missile trajectories. Colonel Jinn rips the map from their hands in a fit of rage.
The scientists wouldn't have been here but for those stupid birds.
Colonel Jinn grabs a machine gun from an MIB and fires at the penguins on the ridge.
Kill! Kill them all! Every last one! They'll die soon anyway.
The bullets miss the penguins, but they still explode a fuel tank nearby.
Extinct. Gone the way of the dodo birds. Elvis will never forgive me.
Exterior, Ross Sea, shoreline, day. Waco and Jaxx root through the debris from the nuclear explosion. They find what's left of a snowmobile, turn it over, and try to get it started.
It's my old wheels from before the first cruise missile strike. Doesn't look good, not one bit.
Waco pops the hood, and they try to find out what's wrong. Machine gun fire sounds from over a ridge, from near the research station. A fuel tank nearby explodes. Waco and Jaxx run for cover. Exterior, Ross Plateau, Ice Station Terror, day. Jinn and his men look up at the sound of a giant armored military-grade snowmobile approaching. The half-track stops in front of Colonel Jinn. General Volk, wearing Arctic fatigues with a white-black-gray pattern, steps out of the snowmobile.
Get your backsides out of here. This is American soil.
We're standing on ice, General, so technically it's ocean and belongs to no damn body.
Colonel Jinn pulls out the ID card Ashray gave him.
I have full access by order of the President's new U.S. Space Command office. My ID.
Don't move, Chinatown. I need to check out your plastic.
General Volk pulls out a satellite phone and hits the speed dial. He scans Colonel Jinn, head to toe.
Same arrogance, different uniform. Sparky, get Admiral Ashray on the horn. Heave-ho, Swabby.
A U.S. Navy cargo helicopter rips overhead, 100 feet above the ground, drowning out the conversation. The chopper carries a monster snowmobile in a rope sling underneath. While Volk is on a satellite phone, Jinn and his men move away to their helicopter. Briefly, Dr. Bukowski, bound and gagged, can be seen inside Colonel Jinn's chopper as it lifts off. Volk hangs up the phone and turns to stare at the MIB chopper.
Never trust anybody with that kind of access. Kids razz me about that all the time. Never trust the big brains, Daddy.
Exterior, U.S. carrier, flying bridge, day. Ashray, talking into the shortwave, stares out over the ocean towards Ice Station Terror. Snow kicks up a small storm as Jinn's chopper lifts off and heads towards the big white dome.
Somebody definitely survived the explosion, sir. No trace of their current whereabouts.
Search the coastline for signs, tracks, wreckage, trail sign. Find them, then just find them. Soon.
The noise of a chopper taking off nearby blots out Volk's reply, and Ashray hangs up the radio phone. Exterior, Ice Station Terror, day. Waco and Jaxx peer out from a ridge as Jinn's helicopter lifts off and disappears in a whiteout of blowing snow. They hunker down and watch as Volk gets off the phone, climbs into his monster snowmobile, and moves slowly down the shoreline. As soon as Volk slips out of view, Waco and Jaxx make a mad dash for the wreckage. Waco roots around, desperate.
Food. Anything we can eat. Dried produce, canned, boxed, you name it. Vermin even.
Who are you to give me orders?
Nobody. I'm nobody. Go ahead and freeze your chromosomes off out here, far as I care.
I'll be damned if I share any of my body heat with you, mister.
Who says I need it? I got my James Bond long johns on.
They will smile for the first time.
Come on, girl. Let's get a move on. They'll be coming for us.
Jaxx stands her ground, arms crossed, fuming.
Can't go back. They'll arrest me as an eco-terrorist. Can't go with you either. Then I really will be an eco-terrorist. Can't.
Wait here for her to decide.
Waco turns on heel and gets back to work on the snowmobile. Interior stairwell, night. 2 MIB and Colonel Jinn, all 3 wearing night vision goggles, muscle Dr. Bukowski down metal stairs.
Tell us what you know, and you'll live to see your babushkas.
As seen through the goggles, everything is yellow-red.
I am Ukrainian patriot. I know the evil men do. You will kill myself anyway, me.
Where? You have hidden second Russia nuclear bomb?
Blame it on the Russians. Doesn't that get a little cliche after a while?
They've reached the bottom of the stairwell.
Where? You knew where you have been to this place before? Yes? We saw it on giant microwave surveillance, ground satellite network. Where?
Colonel Jinn grabs Bukowski's scarf and tosses it towards a massive steel bank vault door. The scarf is instantly vaporized by a high-voltage electric charge.
I am not Russian, Ukrainian. What you did was my lucky scarf.
Please, must I say please, open the vault door.
Ha! Authorized personnel only.
Die. Open. Open or die.
Bukowski grins, chin high, proud, obstinate. Colonel Jinn motions towards his men. The MIB throw Bukowski towards the bank vault door. Bukowski screams bloody hell as the bank vault door explodes with a massive electric charge, blinding, piercing brightness. The MIB rip their night vision goggles off, screaming with pain.
Babies. Cry babies. Get to work!
Colonel Jinn and his MIBs root around in a thick, impenetrable cloud of smoke and ashes.
Search. Sift the ashes. He must have had the vault access codes on him. Fire. Pray fire did not burn up coast entrance.
Sir, I have something. Something inscribed in the glasses frame.
He hands Colonel Jinn Bukowski's glasses. The colonel holds them up to the light. Frustrated, he throws them down.
Damnation. He scratched the codes off. Now, we die without these penguins.
Exterior, Ice Station Terror, day. Waco studies the sky while Jaxx continues milling around for food.
No way to tell if my balloon got high enough to work.
Screw your precious penguins, we...
Say what? How dare you!
Oh, wait, I didn't mean that. It's just, we'll freeze to death.
They hear Volk's snowmobile returning from its recon mission.
Hurry, follow me. Keep your feet in my footprints.
They shoulder their backpacks and head out, as Waco follows the footsteps of Jinn and his people, careful to tread only in their path. Jaxx has to make giant, awkward strides to follow him. Exterior, Ross Ice Shelf, day. Jaxx and Waco trudge along, making steady progress in fresh snow. Waco pauses occasionally to get his bearings with the compass. Jaxx follows him, step for careful step.
We should really just turn ourselves in. Really, we should.
Didn't you hear me? My experiment failed. Effing failed! If they arrest me, I'll never get her done. Not gonna happen.
Suddenly, a penguin pops out of the water onto the shoreline. He spots Waco and Jaxx. Everyone stops cold.
Seppo? Is that you, little buddy?
The penguin stares at Waco, stares at Jaxx, stares at Waco again, then flaps his arms like crazy.
Seppo!
Waco runs towards Zeppo.
You're okay! Thank God! We'll fix this. I promise.
Waco squats down beside Zeppo and scratches the top of his head playfully.
Look, he's so cute.
Zeppo falls on his back and lets Waco scratch his belly.
What's wrong with his eyes? Why's he squinting like that?
Decades without any ozone to block out the sun's UV rays are making them all go blind. Zeppo couldn't even see to fish with when I found him.
Waco feeds a hungry Zeppo with snacks from his backpack. A couple of other penguins show up, slide down the snowbank, and deftly maneuver to get some food. They approach Jaxx, too. She shoos them away.
Yeah, no food from me. I don't even know you people.
Hey, that might be their last meal on Earth.
Jaxx looks like she's about to cry. Feeds the penguins.
You do things to me. Nobody does things to me.
Zeppo pauses to stare at Waco in the eyes.
I'll make this right, kiddo.
Zeppo stiffens up, backs away, staring at the sky. Zeppo scurries away and dives into the ocean, seconds before a helicopter roars overhead, heading out to sea from inland.
Awesome. A bearing to follow.
They huddle out of sight.
Follow? No way.
It's not very far away. Ice didn't even melt off their engine fairings.
The helicopter disappears over the horizon, and they get back on their trek across the winter wasteland.
Is that your job down here, to save the penguins?
Officially, I'm here to police the Freon ban. To enforce it. I'm the law down here. One word to NASA and I can... Hell, Whatever it takes to save the ozone layer. Whatever.
Alias Dr. Doom, I get it now.
The Chinese are manufacturing bootleg Freon. NASA sent me down here to study the ozone hole to verify their violation of the Freon ban. Once their funds ran out, the NSA picked up the slack.
Waco spots something in the snow and goes to investigate.
OMG. Something blown away by the blast. Come on!
Jaxx helps him set a badly damaged snowmobile upright on its skids. Waco checks the gas, cranks it up, then quickly turns it off.
It's my snowmobile. No sign of the trailer. All my emergency supplies were so screwed.
They strap their backpacks on the snowmobile, then Waco makes Jaxx sit in the driver's seat. He hands her the compass.
Steady on 70 degrees, or whatever other bearing you damn well please.
Are you trusting me?
You won't get another chance.
She cranks up the snowmobile and moves out, slow enough so that Waco can follow close behind the snowmobile tracks. They talk quietly above the dull growling of the engine.
When I found Zeppo, he was skinny as a rail. They were all like that. No ozone. The UV rays are killing the plankton, their main food source. Now, look at them. That giant solar flare is fixing to obliterate their world.
She slows down so Waco can catch a group of penguins cavorting in the surf.
I didn't have a chance to get enough data to prove the UV rays were starving the penguin population down here. Then came the news of the big solar flare coming.
So you scrambled around, got money and equipment, nukes, where you could to save the penguin friends from certain extinction? I forgive you.
Jaxx stares at a small group of penguins nearby, gathered around their young to keep them warm. She slows down again.
You're one man against the world, and suddenly the world butts in. We need more people like you.
Suddenly, the penguins bolt for the ocean and dive in. Frantic, Waco grabs the snowmobile wheel, steers towards a ridge and crashes it into a snowbank, covering it in powdery snow. Then he grabs armfuls of snow and covers everything up. The snowmobile, Jaxx, himself.
Is a storm coming? A big storm?
They're terrified by anything big.
Oh God, a polar bear? An abominable Yeti snowman?
Abruptly, a black helicopter roars overhead and streaks towards the dome. Jaxx yanks out the compass and takes a bearing on the chopper's line of flight. Later. Driving now, Waco steers the snowmobile towards a large crater, pulls to a stop near the rim. He gets out and heads towards the crater, Jaxx right behind.
Got to get the circulation going in our legs, cold as it is. Otherwise, frostbite will set in. Fast.
What about my arms? Fingers?
Seen those damn craters all over the place today? Gotta see if they're what I think.
Melting snow, isn't it obvious?
Sister, down here nothing is obvious.
They hurry to investigate the mystery crater. Exterior, Ross ice shelf, day, later. 100 yards from a wall of ice, Jaxx runs out of gas. She dismounts, and they hurry towards a 10-foot ice wall.
We shouldn't have stopped for your meteor crater detour.
Distraught, Waco hurries ahead, muttering to himself.
Get a move on, lady. Temps will drop 50 degrees after sunset. Frozen solid in no time at all.
You're very good at evading.
They arrive at the wall of ice. Waco pulls a flare out of his backpack, ignites it, and burns a hole in the ice, breaking through after a foot or two.
There's sinkholes, Jaxx. The ice pack is melting. Big time melting.
No way. We never even got above 0 Fahrenheit. How?
The nuclear detonation. All that high energy ultraviolet radiation. Damn, I didn't anticipate that.
Waco carves out a shape in the ice wall big enough to crawl through, then pushes the cutout to the inside of the wall. Exterior, fatherland, day. Waco and Jaxx stand inside the ice wall, gawking at a small city spread out before them. Everything is built like igloos and rugged geodesic domes, blending in perfectly with the landscape. A torrent of steam shoots upward in a mini tornado, freezing into a terrifying ice sculpture.
You wanted to live on desperation's sharp edge, girl.
Waco and Jaxx disappear into a cloud of water vapor from the venting steam.
The Mars Society tried an experiment down here years ago, around the turn of the millennium.
Shards of ice fall all around them and shatter on the ground. Exterior, fatherland, day. Jaxx and Waco head towards a clustering of buildings.
Jesus, this is a whole lot more than just a simple experiment. Refurbished old World War II science facilities, they said.
Cranes are frozen in mid-action, hoisting giant Lego-type blocks of ice spit out by a huge machine, assembling them into vaulted igloo over an intersection of two streets.
Look how they built those giant igloo structures out of ice blocks, giant igloos. Every shape you can imagine, using surface tension as glue. Brilliant.
Exterior, Fatherland, day. A few minutes later, Waco and Jaxx exit an ice tunnel, right into the path of a second giant machine that eats ice and snow on the front end and spits out a nice, smooth tunnel on the other end.
And a boss machine to make ice tunnels. How cool is that?
Frequent, violent lava flows plus ice galore make for some kind of strange rock formations. Lava tubes all over this wretched plateau.
Volcanoes? Active volcanoes?
Waco grabs his stomach, bending over in pain.
You never asked why I have bleeding stomach ulcers. Just assumed.
Waco and Jaxx head towards an open area in the middle of the compound. Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, day. Jaxx points towards the big geodesic dome looming nearby.
Head for that big dome over there. It's some kind of central hub. We can get shelter there.
Jaxx stops abruptly, looking all around.
Where's the U.S. Navy? Marines?
Look, an albatross perched on the top of the dome, sunning its wings. See it? Right up there.
Waco points towards the top of the big dome. Jaxx is more interested in a similar winged structure across the yard, an entire building adjacent to the HELSTAF dome.
It looks like laser cannon to me, with radar wings.
There are 5 species of albatross down here. Awesome creatures. 10-foot wingspan. Eat fish to survive. Tough buggers.
They hear vehicles approaching and run to hide in a narrow alleyway. Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, day. General Volk exits his giant snowmobile and ambles through the frozen city. An aide, 35, short, bald, at his side, studying the buildings with a practiced eye.
Looks like young Jason's Lego toy town. Time warp.
A helicopter lands nearby. Admiral Ashray gets out of the chopper and hurries towards Volk.
Our fugitives abandoned their vehicle just outside the city limits. Drifting snow covered up the tracks after that.
We've got to find them. Whatever it takes, get your infrared scanners here. Search building to building, every square inch.
Waco and Jaxx, hiding in a nearby cluster of buildings, observe them from afar.
Pentagon tells me he got a bad conduct discharge from the Marine Corps, passing on Project Blue Book secrets to WikiLeaks.
They'd probably make him a hero these days. Ah, the good old days.
Nobody ever figured out how he even got a hold of the secret docs. The NSA was so impressed they gave him a job.
Ashray stops dead in his tracks, suddenly afraid.
We're going to need a lot more than an infrared scanner to find them.
The female accomplice is a total nobody. No trace anywhere.
The Admiral stops, stunned, flabbergasted.
Who hired her? She had to have a job to get down here. Find out.
Forget the terrorists. Forget the nuke. You're obsessing worse than my teenager and his stupid video games.
A black chopper lands across the plaza. Colonel Jinn and his MIB dismount. They head towards Volk and Ashray. Waco spots Colonel Jinn.
That's the man who killed the China Peace activists. Run!
Waco and Jaxx scurry away. In the corner of his eye, Ashray spots motion. Waco and Jaxx just as they disappear. Ashray yanks out his service revolver.
It's them! Go! Shoot to kill!
The MIB run after Waco and Jaxx, weapons drawn. Ashray and Colonel Jinn speed walk after them, talking urgently in hushed tones.
Bad news. The old scientist did not have what we seek, the access codes.
The young scientist, he was the old man's protege. He must have the codes.
Ashray sees Volk eyeballing them, expectant.
Find those two! Alive!
Ashray pushes Colonel Jinn away so hard he stumbles and falls onto his knees. Looking terrified of Ashray's wrath, Colonel Jinn gets up and hurries after his men.
Warning. If that nuclear weapon destroys this high-energy laser facility, it'll be World War III between our nations.
Arms crossed, Volk studies their actions, pensive. He takes a sat phone from his side and makes an urgent call. Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, day. Fists clenched in rage at his sides, General Volk watches Ashray and Colonel Jinn leave. Volk grumbles to his aide standing nearby.
Ashray's up to something. Give me the Pentagon on the horn. Something I recollect about him being investigated for conspiring with the enemy.
The aide pulls out a satellite phone and dials. He gets someone on the line and hands the phone over. They chat as the phone establishes a connection.
Have the Invictus and the rest of my Marines ASAP. Your old lady have fits of intuition? Used to drive me nuts, just plain nuts. Then...
The general hands the phone back to his aide, who steps away to talk on the sat phone. Exterior, Fatherland, Refinery Complex, day. Waco and Jaxx climb over a fence and disappear into a small refinery of tanks, pipes, and towers at the base of the white geodesic dome.
That small refinery is to cook up all the chemicals to make a laser.
Is it true? What they said? You have no records anywhere.
It's not a crime to live in the dark web. Both political parties back home have 3,000 data points on every voter. Not me.
She seemed so innocent yesterday.
I knew it. I saw the laser beam last night when you crashed after supper. That's where it came from.
Huh. I could have sworn I saw a beam like that right before my experiment exploded.
Waco points towards a metal statue on the top of the dome.
The big bird on the dome. Nazis loved eagles like that.
They head for a steel-vaulted entrance door marked with a giant swastika and HELSTAF. Waco slams his shoulder into the door, hits, and falls right on through. It wasn't even secured.
Did you hear that? Not one squeak when it opened. Still smooth as glass. Nazi indeed.
Exterior, Fatherland, main gate, day. A Marine sergeant, 30s, appears at the main entrance gate for the compound. He spots Waco and Jaxx just as they disappear into the dome through a side door. Then he pulls a sat phone out to make an urgent call. Interior, Fatherland, laser lab, day. Waco and Jaxx walk through a vast space with towering mirrors, concave lenses, and giant, simplistic computers.
I'll be damned. You were right. It's an antique laser lab.
Waco hits a big, red Actung plunger button by the doorway. Nothing happens, so he pries open an access panel beside it and fiddles with the circuit wires.
The Nazis built the first jet fighter aircraft, the first ballistic missiles, the V-2 rockets were the first cruise missiles.
Why build their laser lab way down here?
Ex-Nazi scientists built the U.S. and Soviet space programs after the war. Werner von Braun and company. Some of my professors back at the university were their grad students.
You seem well versed in all things Nazi.
I'm an aerospace engineer. They were the greatest. Well, in rocket science, at least.
Waco closes the access panel and hits the red button again. Up pops a display with an evacuation plan of the building. Waco scans the metal placard.
Project HELSTAF. HELSTAF.
Jaxx studies the building plan.
There are 6 levels below us. Will it be warmer down there, as in volcano warming up the ground?
They hurry towards a door with a stairwell icon. Interior, HELSTAF, corridors, day. Waco and Jaxx hustle through the skeletons, wearing Nazi uniforms, collapsed by boxes and moving crates.
They were trying to evacuate. They said you really are a terrorist.
Everybody says that about spooks.
I don't see you trying to prove me wrong here.
She holds up her empty backpack. Waco holds up his empty backpack.
I've nibbed my stash all gone. Sorry.
These soldiers, they all use sat phones. Did you see that?
Waco pulls out his sat phone, extends a small antenna, and hands it over to her.
Dial 666 for an outside line.
Jaxx falls back, dialing, listening.
Military quarantine. Communication blackout. I heard them. I saw them. They're blocking your signal. Can't you see?
Jaxx stuffs the sat phone into her parka and disappears into a chemi-labor doorway. Waco doesn't notice. He's stepping into another door farther along. Exterior, HELSTAF, day. A winterized Humvee heads into the refinery complex. A squad of Marines exits the Humvee and hustles inside. The Marine sergeant, carrying a military-grade tablet, directs his men.
Short-range infrared scan says they're on the move. Fast.
They hustle into a laser labor doorway. Interior, laser lab, continuous, day. His room is empty. The Marine sergeant paces through the room as his men fan out, searching everywhere.
Steady signal now. Come on. It's getting stronger. We're close.
The Marines head for the interior hallways. Interior, HELSTAF, chemistry lab, day. Jaxx moves around a vintage chemical engineering lab. She accidentally knocks over a glass beaker. It crashes to the floor. She jumps a mile, scared to death. She looks around, studying the room. There's a skylight, and from one angle you can see speckles of snowflakes drifting down from moisture condensing on the ceiling.
Heat from the blast melted some of the ice up there. Huh. I guess it really was a nuclear blast.
She spots a pool of moisture at the base of a large wall mirror. She splashes her boot in the puddle.
Liquid water?
She pulls off her glove and feels the wall.
It's warm. HELSTAF indeed.
Gently, she pushes the mirror in. A hidden door opens behind the mirror. Jaxx stares at the dark corridor beyond the doorway. She gets a flashlight out of her backpack and disappears into the darkness. Waco paces into the room, jabbering.
Cold? Try reaching Maine in the middle of frigid winter after starting the Appalachian Trail in Georgia, packing nothing but summer shorts and tie-dye t-shirts.
Waco stops. He looks around. No Jaxx.
Jaxx?
Waco stops in his tracks. He sees the skylight, the snowflakes in the air, kneels down. There's a light dusting of snow on the floor. He turns on his flashlight and shines it at floor level, highlighting Jaxx's footprints into the snow. He follows them to a dead end at the big wall mirror. He feels around the mirror, presses it gently, and eases inward. He slips into the spaces and slides the mirror shut. Seconds later, the Marines enter the lab and fan out, searching, weapons drawn. There's a dozen of them. They quickly destroy all traces of Waco and Jaxx's footprints on the floor.
Where'd they go? Infrared scan says they're right here.
Interior, HELSTAF, secret passageway, day. Waco and Jaxx hustle down dark corridors. Waco studies the texture and cracks in the walls.
These walls have been subjected to significant stress. I measured some of the superior tremors last week, then that nuclear blast.
We better get in and out before this place blows sky high.
Waco fingers deep scratch marks in the wall.
Once the volcano wakes up, this place will be history.
Jaxx holds back a silent scream.
Is that where the heat's coming from?
Waco fidgets uncontrollably.
Nobody ever figured on a ball of fire from a nuke melting all the ice.
She scurries on ahead, searching every nook and cranny with her flashlight. Interior, HELSTAF, secret passageway, exit door, day. Waco and Jaxx stop at a yellow Actung door.
Looks like a nuclear blast door, like they have on our underground missile silos in North Dakota.
Waco muscles the door open.
Excuse me, but how is this getting us closer to saving the penguins?
Dr. Z disappeared right after the China Peace Kids dropped off the nukes. He headed inland, directly for this place. I trailed him, as long as I could. Blizzard hit.
The second nuke? It's down.
Waco grabs his stomach, convulsing.
Ulcer's kicking in. No food.
Waco pushes her through the door, grabbing his stomach.
I could have saved some tidbits for you, the penguins we fed.
Got a plan B. And the means to implement it too. I can do this.
Jaxx stares him down. Waco hurries on ahead.
Don't tell me your plan B involves the second nuclear weapon. Please. Something on the news about how only a paranoid lunatic fringe.
Waco takes a sharp left at an intersection. Waco and Jaxx move into a neon green hallway.
This corridor leads to some kind of central nexus.
Is your work that stressful? I mean, ulcers. At your tender age, like, maybe you're schizo...
Hey, lady. I live in the kill zone of a dozen active volcanoes. Then boom, along came Godzilla.
I got a right to know what's going on here, don't I? I mean, if you die here, so do I.
Waco lags behind, studying more scratch marks on the wall, reading the markings out loud.
Z-O-Z, Zabria, Russian SOS.
Isn't there some secret spy code regulation that lets you tell me all?
Not if I don't know what I'm gonna do myself. Okay? Back off!
Jaxx's flashlight traces shiny new electrical conduits along the top of a side wall.
New electrical service. In this crummy old building? Now we're getting somewhere.
The military goons up there knew about this place all along, didn't they? My society indeed. If you knew it, they sure as hell do.
The conduit leads past a massive metal wall. They inspect the hinges and seams with their flashlights.
Suddenly, I was a lot lonelier than I ever knew.
Exterior, Fatherland. Day. Volk and Ashray are in a heated discussion just outside the HELSTAF dome. An aide hands the general a tablet. Volk scans the tablet screen.
Eyes only message from the Pentagon. Can't they just leave well enough alone? Now I'm sounding just like my kids.
Volk shows Ashray the tablet.
They want us to evacuate ASAP. Who are they kidding? Duh, just let them keep the nuke? Like we did with Saddam Hussein at the end of the first Iraq War? Not me. Not again. No, sir.
I know obsessing when I see it. Teenage kids gulping down energy drinks like grape sodas, up for days on end video gaming.
Interior, U.S. carrier, bridge, day. All eyes are on a giant TV screen, newscast. A 3D animation simulation shows a giant solar flare exploding in a pillar of fire, engulfing Mercury on day 1, Venus on day 2, and then heading directly for Earth on day 3.
The solar flares just passed the orbit of Venus, coming in fast. On Wall Street, the markets are in freefall, losing $1 trillion in valuation per hour. It's fiscal Armageddon.
The background switches to a view of the South Pole, showing the ozone hole over Antarctica.
The South Pole under the ozone hole will... The entire polar cap will melt, flooding,
The video feed breaks up.
raising ocean levels by 100 feet or more. Martial law has been declared throughout the Pacific Basin. All communications taken over by the military, for emergency use only.
Abruptly, the screen is full of static. The officer of the deck is unable to get the TV signal back.
All long-range communications are out. It's the solar flare.
Exterior, Fatherland, day. Volk runs after Ashray across the central compound towards a command tent being set up by Marines. Volk gets in Ashray's face and points towards the dark, chaotic sky.
We need to get the frack out of here, Ashray. This whole continent is going to melt when the flare hits.
Ashray stiff arms Volk backward.
Not until I find the 2 terrorists. The second nuke.
Volk digs in and stands his ground.
Our orders are to evacuate. Didn't you get the priority flash? Screw the nukes. Orders are orders. We effing evacuate.
Get the damnation out of my way.
Volk gets right into Ashray's face, angry and direct.
Shut up and color. Gin up, mister. This ain't no kindergarten game.
I'm not obeying no unlawful order.
Ashray stiff arms Volk aside and hurries on by. Colonel Jinn joins Ashray and they head into the HELSTAF dome. Volk yells after them.
Who cares about recovering the second nuke? It'll blow sky high anyway when the solar storm hits. Where are the rest of my Marines? I ordered the entire battalion ashore.
Interior, HELSTAF, stairway, day. Jaxx finds a hidden latch, throws it. Waco pushes the heavy metal door open. They enter another corridor. This one angles down at a steep incline.
Another silent door. Nazi engineering extraordinaire.
Perfectly silent hinges, laser mirror rooms, geodesic domes.
Your Mars society was pretty damn busy down here, girl. Alias the U.S. Space Command.
The corridor dead ends in a stairwell. Waco hurries by her and starts down the stairs.
Some kind of Black Ops Pentagon operation off the books before Trump made the Space Corps official.
Perfect place to build weapons banned by international treaty.
A bat zips by them, exiting the stairwell. Then another, and another. Jaxx cringes, terrified of bats.
Oh, they sure sucked me in. You're insane going down there.
Those men in black had Dr. Z in that chopper. I swear I saw his face. Forced him to lead them to the second nuke.
A flurry of bats jet past them. Jaxx screams. Waco stares up at her. She shines her flashlight into the frightened face.
You're leaving me up here all alone? Wait.
It has to be warm down there. Tropical warm. A whole ecosystem with bugs, vermin, bat food.
Waco disappears down the stairs, waving off the occasional bat. Interior, HELSTAF. Stairway, bottom landing, day. Waco takes the last few steps, his flashlight following the shiny electrical conduit to the bottom landing.
Waco, you found something? Waco.
Waco reaches a massive, steel-reinforced door with a bank vault locking wheel.
I felt a small tremor up here. Waco, is the volcano waking up?
Waco shines his flashlight on the walls. revealing thick, black soot from intense flames.
How the F did you trap me up here? Please, don't leave me. Alone.
Waco sifts a pile of ashes in front of the vault door. He finds a gold wedding band and reads the inscription.
Cyrillic text. Oh, God.
Waco pulls Burkowski's metal glasses from the pile of ashes. He stares sadly at the glasses, gently cleaning the lenses.
The good news is they didn't get the codes.
Waco reaches out to open the vault door. The hair on his arm stands up, as if from static electricity.
The bad news is, how the hell do I get inside now?
Gently, he taps the door. Electricity leaps up Waco's arm. He staggers back, bending over, grabbing his midsection in great pain.
Yowza! High voltage. Very high.
Waco collapses on the floor, drained. He stares at the electrified vault door, talking to Burkowski's glasses.
I'm sorry, old man. But what can I even do now?
Tremors shake the stairwell, violently.
We've got to go. Hurry. Waco, get your sorry ass up here and make that pronto.
Waco gathers himself together and stumbles up the stairs. Exterior, interior, fatherland, Ashray's Humvee, day. The sun is low on the horizon. Thick storm clouds make it seem even darker. Ashray and Colonel Jinn drive towards the HELSTAF dome.
Admiral, does your Marine Corps general know what's going on here?
He thinks we're here to observe the solar flare. Routine scientific mission.
Ashray makes a hard left and runs right into an ice tunnel.
He seems very uncouth.
Let us hope.
The missus, she gets uncouth at times. Our tradition for women is subservience. But I can see the rage boiling in her veins. Rage.
Exterior fatherland, ice tunnel, day. A military convoy of winterized Humvees turns into the tunnel dead ahead and races towards Ashray's vehicle. Ashray hits the brakes and turns the wheel hard right, hugging the outside wall, scraping it with a riotous screech. The convoy roars past them, inches from a head-on collision, leaving a whirlwind of blowing snow and ice in its wake. Ashray eases to a stop.
Who are we kidding here? We'll be post-toasties when all this comes down. We're the sacrificial pawns.
Yet, we die with honor.
Honor? Screw honor. I'm a die for a cause person. Sacrifice.
You so don't get it.
Ashray gets the vehicle in gear and moves into the light. Interior, HELSTAF, stairwell, night. Waco reaches the top of the stairs.
What happened down there?
I found Burkowski. Pile of ashes, his wedding band.
Waco hands her the old man's glasses.
Does this mean he's dead? Oh God, they killed him. The men in black commandos?
They both stare at Burkowski's glasses.
Why'd you kill Dr. Z? What the Sam hell is going on?
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on the dead grandfather tap.
Save the drama for later, mister.
Interior, HELSTAF, corridor, night. Waco and Jaxx slink down the hallway.
Focus. Focus on saving penguins. Waco! Penguins!
Outside a wall of windows, they spot bright lights in the assembly area. A platoon of MIB, led by Colonel Jinn and Ashray, runs towards the building.
Oh, right. I forgot about them.
Waco and Jaxx run down the corridor, glancing out the windows as they go. Colonel Jinn gets a clear view of Waco. Exterior HELSTAF, continuous, night. Colonel Jinn grabs a grenade launcher, shoulders the weapon, and takes aim on Waco's retreating figure.
Boom. Up blows the scientist.
Ashray struggles to wrestle the weapon away.
Wait, we need him. He has the access codes. If General Volk hears it, finds out.
Colonel Jinn breaks free and fires. The rocket hits wide.
Enough. Enough already. Screw patience. I am not female. I don't like being Christian either. Turn the other cheek? I hate patience.
Interior, HELSTAF, corridor, dusk. Waco and Jaxx hurry down a hallway, illuminated only by snowed-over skylights above. Waco searches every nook and cranny, frantic, erratic.
Explosives! Look for anything that goes boom.
Footsteps of a mob sound at a dead run behind them.
Too late now.
Waco and Jaxx disappear into a side corridor. Interior, HELSTAF, corridor, night. Ashray and the MIBs stalk down the corridors, searching every room. Colonel Jinn unshoulders a machine gun and fires a few rounds into every large crate as they pass it.
If any such crate bleeds red blood, we investigate for body. Ha!
What was that you were saying about suppressed rage? Game on.
Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, night. General Volk and his aide watch a platoon of Marines setting up camp in heavy snow. The aide fires off a signal flare, and the Marines grab their weapons and form up on the general in platoon order. The general gives the orders.
Arrest Admiral Ashray on sight. I got questions. A boatload of them.
The Marines break formation and run for their vehicles. The general grabs his aide and shouts at him.
Where are my tanks and heavy armor? I want every ounce of steel we have right here yesterday.
The aide scurries towards a communications truck.
Gotta make my kids proud here.
Interior, HELSTAF, corridors/work areas, night. Waco hurries Jaxx forward through a series of dark hallways, lobbies, and workspaces.
No records? No nothing? You don't exist, lady.
I risk my neck to stay down here. Doesn't that mean anything?
Waco muscles open an outside door.
Like, maybe I feel like I was set up from the get-go. You showing up, facilitating my mission.
To find the nuclear weapons? Do I look that smart? Oh, Halloween.
They stand in the doorway, acclimating to the frigid cold.
Clever ruse to get me to lead you to the second nuke. Waco's no dummy.
They stare at the winter weather a while longer. Then they both turn and step back inside. Interior, HELSTAF, neon green corridor, night. Waco and Jaxx sneak down the same neon green corridor as before, each with a powerful flashlight in their hands.
I just want to know more about you. Is that too much to ask?
They arrive at what used to be the Actung door. The heavy bank vault door is now a solid wall of case-hardened steel.
Suddenly I remember why I needed the explosives.
I grew up in New Orleans. My folks were heavy into the drug trade. They were great parents, but violence, the death, the fear. I turned them into the feds. They put me into witness protection. I ended up joining the U.S. Marshal myself. They needed somebody at McMurdo Sound who could double as security and tech engineer. Couldn't pay for 2 people.
U.S. Marshals. You're the law. I knew it! You're just here to squeeze a confession out of me. To shoot me at dawn for high treason.
Waco steps back, terrified, crashes into a glass door, gashes his arm badly. Jaxx runs to help him. He pushes her away.
You idiot! What have you done? We can't afford any injuries like that right now.
Wait! Look.
Bats show up and zoom around an ensuing puddle of Waco's blood. Waco follows the bats to a mechanic's door.
That stairwell we were in earlier was filthy with bats. The scent of blood will make them anxious to get home. Home is heat. Home is HELSTAF, the secret lab behind the vault door. All we need to do is follow them to the source.
Waco kicks the door down and disappears inside, needing his arm to keep the blood flowing. Jaxx is a few steps behind. Interior, HELSTAF corridors, night. Ashray, Colonel Jinn and their MIB split up and begin searching the building. Interior, HELSTAF, storage closet, night. Waco grabs a ratty old broom handle and knocks the handle end onto the floor, listening to the echo. Jaxx steps into the room, closing the door behind her, locking it. Bats are everywhere for the rest of the sequence, fleeting shadows wherever they shine their flashlights.
Sorry about your folks.
Your face is blue, nose, eyes glazing over, latent paranoia.
She rips a swath of cloth out of her blouse and bandages his arm.
Your body can't heal the wound and fight this rigorous cold at the same time. We need food, and now.
What we need is heat. And heat is down there below us.
Volcano heat. Volcano, as in flowing magma, liquid fire.
Waco's broomstick hits a hollow echo in the floor.
Wait, stop. That's a new sound.
Waco rips a layer of carpet aside. A large square seam shows in the floor. Waco gets down on his knees to inspect the square seam.
This is an emergency access panel. I'm not worried. Got nothing to hide anyway. Well, almost nothing. Just the one little thing.
Waco pries at the edges with his pocket knife. The floor crumbles away to reveal rusty hinges.
That secret lab behind that electrified door, deep in the stairwell, figure we're right above it. That's where the second nuke is. I know it. Gotta get there.
The building rumbles as if from a small earthquake. They grab onto each other for dear life.
I remember, engraved in the steel vault door, Project Vulcan Labor. It's a volcano lab.
The tremors subside. Jaxx peels his arm off her.
You have no idea how cold I am in here. I can't even feel my extremities anymore. Vision is going.
Your body's shutting down blood flow to your extremities, preserving heat in the core. Bad, very bad.
Waco climbs up a few shelves of metal storage rack, then maneuvers around to face Jaxx. He grabs his stomach, in pain.
Stomach. Killing me. Ulcers. Bad.
You're suicidal. Stop this. Break through the floor and you might just fall into the maws of a volcano.
Another tremor, stronger, rattles the room. The metal shelf buckles. Jaxx rushes to brace the shelf with her arms. Waco doubles over from the stomach pain.
Bloody ulcers. If I could explode this place the way they're exploding my stomach right now.
We could have saved some food for your ulcer pains. Why didn't you say something?
Waco points towards the rectangle in the floor.
We don't need a full-blown volcanic blast, just enough of one to make some ash, so that the ash cloud blocks out the solar flare.
Jaxx moves down towards the floor.
Wait! Don't let go of that shelf.
But Jaxx has already let go of the shelf, which buckles. Waco falls off the shelf and crashes into the middle of the rectangle. The floor crumbles away. Waco falls through the opening. Exterior, Fatherland, night. Volk's convoy has to veer off the road to avoid a giant crevasse, gushing steam and superheated gas. Volk stares into the chasm as they move by.
Christ almighty, did you see that? Down in the abyss. Lava flowing, angry, furious.
Volk's aide, driving the vehicle, peels out.
Finally understand the fatal attraction of video games.
Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, night. Ashray and Colonel Jinn both meet with a group of MIB, approach from opposite directions. They meet and huddle close.
Damn, we'd be long gone from here but for those two kids.
They're cunning bastards. Eco-terrorists always cut the leading edge.
The ground rumbles. Geysers erupt from deep cracks in the frozen ground nearby.
Terrorists. I have rooted out dissidents all my China career. Spent whole years undercover, living their treasons, and yet they always surprise, excel.
Ashray points towards a vent shaft shooting out hot, humid air, forming a tornado blizzard when it mixes with the frigid, hyper-dry Arctic air.
That's not what's driving you, Jinn. What's going on here? What aren't you telling me?
Just perhaps because they have a cause, reason to die for.
Cause? Us? We're just pawns in a giant chess game. China and the US, using this whole natural disaster thing to ring in a new world order from out of the chaos? Didn't they even brief you?
Yes, of course they did. There's more to it, however. Much more.
Interior, HELSTAF. Storage closet, night. Waco hangs on by his fingertips above the gorge. Jaxx stands above him, hands on hips, foot tapping impatiently. Frigid air billows out from the hole in the floor. Their breath forms snowflakes.
A little help here?
Not until you come clean. Are you sane? Can I even trust you?
Of course. I'm sane. That's the whole problem.
Jaxx plants a foot near his hand.
Your turn to fess up, buddy. What's bringing you up insides, huh? I got a right to know, too.
The heat in the laser lab. From the nuclear explosion, it was too close to the surface. The explosion wasn't high enough. Proof positive that my ozone experiment failed.
So all this frantic searching for this volcano lab has a purpose?
He grabs her ankle and hauls himself up and out. Waco finds some sturdy rope and loops it around a ceiling beam.
I've got to get down there, and soon. Blow up this volcano. Use the volcanic ash cloud to block the solar flare.
He drops the other end of the rope down into the jagged hole in the floor, then zips on down the rope into the black void. Jaxx stares down after him. A dim light sweeps an arc in the darkness below.
It's warm down here. Hot, even. Get down here, girl.
An updraft sucks the air out of the opening in the floor.
I still say we should be going up, not down.
We can't go up. It's filthy with bad guys. If we go down, we might find a lava tube to get us topside.
Exterior, Fatherland, night. Volk and his convoy get stranded in the middle of a large, thick black ice floe. Steam gushes out of the ground, then spreads out into a shallow lake, freezing instantly.
We're dead meat if we can't get out of this mother-loving ice field.
The Marines get out of their vehicles, jack up the rear wheels, and hurry to install heavy-duty snow chains on the back tires of their vehicles.
Ashray told us to come this way. He knew we'd get bogged down, maybe even die in the lava. Lost half a battalion in Afghanistan once. Navy couldn't send in air ops. Too dangerous, they said. Dangerous?
The chains circled 2 sets of double tires each, making the rear of each vehicle look like a half-track.
5-star bastard. Arrogance without limits, just like the Nazis. And I wonder why the Taliban never gave up in Afghanistan.
Interior, HELSTAF, Vulcan Lab, night. Solid as an alley cat, Jaxx lands on her feet near Waco. She shines her lights up at the vaulted ceiling and a mass of bats, swarming, hanging, chirping.
You could have told me to look out for the huge swarm of bats.
Heat from the volcano creates a whole separate ecosystem, just like the probiotics in your own stomach.
Waco gives the rope a sharp yank. The rope falls down into a heap at their feet. Jack stares at the rope, the hole. Waco. He shrugs.
We can't let them follow us. Not down here, too.
Suddenly, he shivers convulsively, so much that he has to reach out to grab his arms to steady him, gently hugging him. He shivers into her embrace.
Freezing. Cold. So cold.
Didn't plan for that, did you? Like maybe I can be useful.
Waco breaks away from her on shaky feet. They look around. They're in a vast cavern full of very modern lenses, mirrors, and other laser apparatus.
That's a gigantic steam-powered generator. It's huge.
Hence the power source for said electrified vault door. Laser, too. The laser lab upstairs was just a dummy mock-up. A decoy. This here's the real McCoy.
His knees buckle again, and he grabs onto her shoulder.
Where's the nuke? What's it look like? Same as the NASA package we sent up yesterday?
Jaxx cradles him in her arms, rubbing his arms and back.
No food. Damn cold sucking all your energy out of me. Surefire RX for disaster.
No food, you mean?
My backpack was empty all along. Just enough for Zeppo. Y'all needed it more than me. I'm accustomed to the cold. Thought so.
All the strength drains from him. Jaxx props him up against a wall, stripping off his parka, then hers. She pulls him into her and wraps their parkas around them both.
Damn it, Waco, focus! We gotta find the nukes! Hello?
He keeps shivering. So vigorously, he shakes her to the bone. His words are slurred, confused.
Don't rightly know if it's the damn cold or the stark terror. A little bit of both, I'm thinking.
She eases them down into a sitting position on the floor.
I've been afraid all my life. Not so much lately now that I think of it.
Gently, she brushes the hair off his forehead.
You're freezing cold, come on.
He cuddles into her bosom.
Toasty.
He takes her gloves off and feels his wrist for a pulse.
Weak pulse. Confused thinking you're getting hypothermia.
Waco maneuvers up onto wobbly legs and reaches towards an electrical panel, his hands shaking.
Makes me think of home. Back on the bayou. Summer. Cuddling with my girl.
Waco touches the breaker. Sparks fly. Waco gets blown backward. Jack catches him in her arms. He's smoking from the electric charge, hair all frazzled. Interior, HELSTAF, corridors, night. Ashray, Colonel Jinn, and the MIB double-time down the corridors, searching every possible hiding place. Ashray stops at the mechanisms room and kicks the door in. Interior, HELSTAF, mechanisms room, continuous, night. Ashray steps in and yanks open a pneumatic control panel full of mechanical levers. One of the levers is red. Ashray pumps the lever, opening up a giant floor vent. A maelstrom of hot, humid air purges out through the vent.
Heat is venting from the building. We have little time. The volcano.
Colonel Jinn grabs Ashray, and they hurry out.
I know you're Chinese. I know I should hate your guts. Still.
Interior, HELSTAF, Vulcan Lab, night. Waco and Jack sit, huddled close for warmth. He's dozed off. She studies his face.
You're getting some color back. Maybe we got you warm in time. God, I hope so.
Thunder ripples above them. She shines her flashlight into the cavern above, clouds of steam glowing with static electricity. Lightning strikes nearby from the ground up. She jumps. Steam rises from where the lightning hit. Jaxx shakes him awake. He's very drowsy.
Waco, look! What's going on? Do I need to get us out of here?
It's ground lightning.
Lightning strikes in the distance, then a steady stream of strikes with gentle rumbles of thunder echoing.
Volcano. It's waking up.
Waking up? Looks more like an orgasm to me. But how? I've never seen anything so enchanting.
Ice particles, rocks, and volcanic ash collide to generate an enormous amount of static electricity that has to go somewhere.
Waco struggles to stand up, pulling his parka on.
The UV radiation from the baby nuke. It penetrated the ground. The volcano is going active. Hurry, Jaxx!
That gets her moving. She's on her feet, wrapped in her parka, and back to her old assertive self in no time.
From heaven to hell in one fell swoop.
An active volcano. I can work with that. Yes, we can do this.
Bats swarm around their flashlights and the space grows dark.
The bats are terrified. Me too.
Exterior, fatherland, night. Jaxx and his men, in winterized Humvees, head towards the Thunderdome.
The chicken hawks in the Pentagon codenamed this fiasco Operation Icarus. Come on down, y'all.
The vehicles are tossed around by random explosions of steam from the ground underneath them. Interior, HELSTAF, Vulcan Lab, night. Waco and Jaxx study a vast array of barrels neatly arranged in racks. All the barrels have Freon stencils. Waco is still out of it, his eyes unfocused and his words slurred.
You're really an aerospace engineer. Always wanted to be an engineer. Couldn't hack the math.
Look at all the Freon. They needed to mask the infrared energy signature on their non-dissipating laser from our spy satellites.
I must admit, it's kind of fun, having a co-conspirator.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume there's no nuke after all. What do we do now?
Jaxx moves away, exploring, fighting the swarming bats.
We could get one of these Freon barrels open. We could start a chain reaction. Freezing cold puts extremely hot. Boom! Would that help?
A steady stream of lightning illuminates the cavern now. Waco's still in left field.
A brave and beautiful co-conspirator to boot. Hot!
If we make a controlled volcano eruption and blow a ton of ash into the atmosphere, it'll block the solar flare.
Waco scrapes frost buildup off one Freon barrel.
What we need is to fracture one barrel first, to get the chain reaction started.
Jaxx yells from across the room.
Massive steel door over here.
Waco runs over to Jaxx. She points towards a vault door. Waco clamps his hand on the vault door and gets the juice shocked out of him.
Our escape route. Good thinking.
Jaxx yanks Waco away from the door. Charge grounds from Waco onto Jaxx. Her hair goes wild with static electricity.
I can't believe you just did that.
I can't believe you just smiled.
They look up at a sudden sound. A face stares down from the hole that Waco made in the floor above. A bright, piercing light shines up from the opening around the face.
Kudos. You found our secret Mars Society laboratory.
Waco and Jaxx whisper to each other.
We have to make him fire his weapon at us. It's the only way to puncture a Freon barrel.
Make him angry? Really angry? Engineers do that all the time. Let me take this one, please.
Jaxx pushes Waco out of her way.
China's in cahoots with the U.S. Space Command.
Ha! Says the rat in the trap.
The ozone hole right above us. There's nothing to stop the solar flare coming. It will melt the polar ice caps.
Who's afraid? In China, we do not think of doom. We think only of possibilities. We will control the world from chaos. China rules. Get yourself used to it.
Orange tracers fire from above Jaxx and Waco. Rounds ricochet through the Freon canisters. The barrels of refrigerant explode and pour Freon out onto the floor. More barrels freeze, then shatter. Interior, HELSTAF, storage closet, night. Ashray wrestles Colonel Jinn back from the opening, takes his weapon away, and throws it aside.
I swear to God, we did not fire.
Balls. We built space laser down here. You and me both, China and the United States.
Fools! You trusted us. Big mistake.
Livid with fury, Ashray hits Colonel Jinn square in the face, drawing blood from a deep gash. Calmly, Colonel Jinn pulls out a white handkerchief and wipes the blood off his face.
Ha! Now we can blame Noah's Flood 2.0 on America.
The whole world will hate us.
Not hate, abhor. You make Nazis look like angels from heaven.
China and the U.S. were in this together. We signed a treaty. A goddamn treaty!
Ashray rushes Colonel Jinn and pummels him with his fists. They trade blow for blow until they're both hurt badly and bleeding. They pause to get their breath, circling each other, weary.
I'll turn you into the authorities. They'll charge you with treason. Shoot you dead.
Ashray grabs Colonel Jinn and throws him into the wall.
You blew up all the damning evidence. Checkmate. China wins. Hooray.
I'll kill you first!
Jinn gets Ashray in a Nelson lock, ready to snap his spine. Beat.
Elbies. For my Elbies.
Colonel Jinn throws Ashray against a wall and darts away. Ashray braces himself against the wall, bone tired. Ashray pulls out his satellite phone, puts a red flash drive in, and downloads some files. Then he sets the sat phone in beacon mode, blinking red light, stuffs it into his parka, and moves out. Interior HELSTAF, Vulcan Lab, night. Waco and Jaxx stand on a desk, surrounded by a sea of neon blue freon. A freon barrel falls into a distant lava flow, exploding, sealing the lava flow with a flurry of cold.
Lava flows out the tubes, while all the smoke and ashes go straight up. Perfect! Huh. Maybe the heat from the nuke detonation was a good thing after all.
All around them, the floor of the cavern slowly collapses into a thick cloud of wind-blown volcanic ash.
Waco, I can't breathe.
Waco grabs Jaxx, hoists her over one shoulder, and wades into the viscous freon.
It's the sulfur in the fumes. It'll burn your lungs out. Take one good breath and hold it, now!
Waco heads towards the heavy steel vault exit door.
What about your lungs?
Stop breathing, damn it!
Waco reaches out to the door, eyes closed, wincing. There's no electric charge. He muscles the door open. A deluge of bats swarms around them and opens the door, and through the door, desperate to escape. Interior HELSTAF, bottom of the stairwell, night. Waco lowers Jaxx, then rubs his feet and ankles to warm them up.
Both my feet are frozen solid. Come to think of it, I can't feel squat from my knees down.
Think, Waco, we need to think.
Huh. Pain seems to mitigate the fear. Anxiety. Fascinating.
Jaxx scoots aside, right into a pile of ashes at the base of the doorway. She pulls a man's wedding band out of the ashes and reads the inscription.
Cyrillic. Dr. Z.
Frantic, Waco searches the stairwell area. He finds a door behind the stairwell.
It's a lava tunnel made into a service corridor. We can get out that way. I'm sure of it.
Waco grabs Jaxx and hauls her into an Actung door. Exterior, interior, fatherland. Jaxx's Humvee, night. Volk and his Marines are just outside the HELSTAF dome. An explosion lights up the night sky.
Christ, every time the lava explodes, I think the solar flare has arrived. Trust in the Lord. When my time comes, it comes. Can't do squat about it but to die well.
Interior HELSTAF, main corridors, night. Jaxx and Waco bolt out of an Actung door, then hurry down empty hallways.
The top of the dome.
Waco's frozen feet make an odd sound as he walks.
We have to blow the top off the Thunderdome.
The corridor pressurizes, pushing them towards the outside of the dome like they're in a wind tunnel.
With a hole at the top, the dome will behave just like a volcano and shoot a giant cloud of ash upward. Just what we need to block the solar flare.
Arms locked together, they struggle towards a nearby doorway. Jaxx kicks the doors in. Interior HELSTAF, mechanics room, continuous, night. Waco and Jaxx struggle into a small mechanics room. It's full of wall-to-wall mechanical levers.
Start flipping levers. See if they do anything.
That's not very scientific.
They talk quietly as they flip one lever after another, waiting for a split second after each to see if anything happens.
Well, I think I'm actually gonna miss you. Can't rightly explain why.
Talk, babble, just stay conscious. We need your know-how to get out of here.
They look towards a loud mechanical sound in the hallway.
Been so alone for so long. Never figured to escape the abyss.
A distant thud reverberates through the structure.
That sound. Did you hear it? One of the levers did something.
I'm ready to die now.
Waco throws a lever. The thud happens again.
Whoa! It's a pneumonic pump lever. For when the power goes out.
Waco works the lever back and forth, frantic. An outside door slowly opens on the far side of the space, letting the elements rush in as Waco and Jaxx rush out. Exterior, HELSTAF, assembly area, night. Air vents from cracks in the HELSTAF dome with a high-pitched whistle. Ashray bolts out of the building. He stops. Colonel Jinn's helicopter is nearby. The Admiral huddles in the shadows, waiting. The Admiral yanks the pin from a grenade, runs to the chopper, tosses the grenade inside, and runs for all he's got. The helicopter explodes in a fireball of reverberating explosions of ordnance and jet fuel. The explosion throws Ashray through the air in a cloud of steel and shrapnel. Ashray falls to the tarmac, wounded severely in the head, one eye a gruesome mess of raw flesh. Waco and Jaxx bolt out of an exit nearby. MIB blasts them with a flurry of 3 round bursts. Waco points towards the bird-esque figure on top of the dome.
We've got to shoot the big bird. Open the top of the dome.
Big bird? What's that mean?
A round clips Waco's shoulder, and he falls down. Jaxx drags Waco to shelter. Exterior, HELSTAF, assembly area, night. Jaxx jams a cloth into Waco's hand and makes him hold it over his shoulder wound. Waco stares at his feet.
My feet are frozen. Ankles too. I can feel bones crunching. Brain's numb. Bad news bears.
Tears streak down Jax's cheeks, freezing into icicles.
Don't quit on me, please.
I'm sorry, Zeppo. I tried. I really did.
Jaxx slaps him, drawing blood.
Then try some more, Marine. Get your lazy ass in gear, mister.
KP duty. Again. Peeling potatoes.
The graveyard shift, pleb. Marching it off in front of the headquarters company. Hop to it, greaser.
Waco musters his last ounce of energy to whisper.
Shoot the goddamn albatross. The volcanic ash cloud needs to vent from the cavern. Puncture the balloon. Varoom!
Albatross? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm not delusioning. Shoot the...
Waco collapses, spent. An MIB jumps Jaxx from behind. She decks him with a quick, brutal kick to the stomach. Jaxx slips and falls flat on her back. She ends up staring up at the big bird on top of the dome.
Oh, that albatross.
Jaxx gets up, grabs the MIB's weapon, and fires off the whole magazine. She can't hit the albatross. More MIB are coming. Jaxx hurries away. A sudden wall of snow obscures her escape. Exterior, Fatherland, main gate, night. A convoy of Marine vehicles barrels through the main gate. Volk stands at the passenger door of the lead Humvee, his aide driving. Marines jump, roll out of their vehicles, then streak across the tarmac like avenging angels. Exterior, Fatherland, assembly area, night. The geodesic HELSTAF dome shudders. Wrenching sounds of metal under extreme stress pierce the still night air as the superstructure expands into a distorted pear shape.
This is what happens when children play with fire. Grown children.
Jaxx runs back towards Waco, dragging an M60 machine gun, a bandolier of ammo draped across her torso. She scoots down beside Waco.
Do you know how to work this monster?
My deuce. And how? Hoorah!
Waco grabs the weapon. Jaxx feeds the bandolier of ammo into the magazine.
We need to brace my back against the wall. 50 caliber rounds have one hell of a kick.
Sliding on his butt, Jaxx helps Waco scoot back a few feet to help steady his back against a brick wall.
Sit down in front of me and support this monster on your shoulder. Let's dance, girl.
Waco hunkers down and takes aim, adjusting the sights. Hot brass flies all around, sizzling as it hits the snow. The base of the laser cannon works loose. The extreme pressure inside HELSTAF blows the albatross off, wrenching a hole at the peak of the dome. Waco spots Colonel Jinn running towards the perimeter wall. He fires the M60 around, draws a bead on Colonel Jinn, and fires away. Jinn gets hit in the shoulder, but escapes.
That's for my China peace friends. You betrayed us all.
Waco collapses, spent.
Doomed anyway. Ulcers are bleeding through the stomach wall. Hurts like all get out. The penguins. Say that.
Waco's expression fades, and his body goes limp. Jaxx hauls the M60 over and wraps his body around it. She whispers by his ear, with a parting kiss on the lips.
Hot steel will keep you warm until I come back.
Jaxx runs away into the night. 2 Marines are almost on top of Waco when a tornado of volcanic ash shoots out of the broken tip of the dome, up into the night sky. The tornado rips through the low clouds, far into the upper atmosphere. General Volk yells at a group of Marines, pointing towards Jaxx.
After her! Shoot to kill! And we can get the hell out of here. Home, blessed home.
The Marines jump into a Humvee and speed away, hot on Jax's tail. Exterior, Fatherland. Assembly area, night. The shaft of volcanic energy from the Thunderdome gets more intense as the mass and momentum increase. Hurricane force winds whistle through the refinery complex, sandblasting paint off vehicles and storage tanks. Superheated steam shoots from the HELSTAF dome and strengthens the storm into a blizzard. General Volk runs through the chaos to Marines gathered around the Admiral. Ashray's eye is a gruesome mess, oozing gray matter.
This is what happens when you disobey the chain of command.
No, the Chinese set me up to take a fall.
Volk puts a heel in Ashray's wounded eye. The Admiral screams.
You've been in cahoots with them commies since day one, I know it.
Volk pulls out his pistol and aims it at Ashray's head.
Tell me the truth, Ashray, or so help me God, I'll blow your brains to hell and back again.
We suspected the Chinese were manufacturing banned Freon 11 down here.
Hands shaking, Volk cocks his revolver.
Then your explosion exposed it? That was no freaking coincidence.
Ashray won't make eye contact. He's evasive, stuttering.
Freon stockpile. You've got to destroy it. I command you.
That's just your cover story. Look me in the eyes. The truth.
Ashray raises a bloody fist just shy of Volk's face.
How else was I going to find the location of the bootleg lab? Map on a flash drive? GPS tracking app? Bully for me!
Level with me, or so help me God, I'll tell the Pentagon you're a commie pinko traitor.
Volk pulls the trigger, but it falls on an empty chamber.
Damnation. Where's my ammo?
Volk's aide steps out of the storm and hands the general a fresh magazine. General Volk locks and loads. Aims.
China and the U.S. signed a treaty. When the solar flare hit, the chaos, we would take control. Rule the world together. The whole trade negotiations, front.
Peace on earth. Goodwill to all men. You idiots believe them?
Shoot me. I order you. Fire.
The general's hand shakes. Beat.
Tell my family I died a hero, will you? That's all I ask.
Lightning fast, the Admiral dives a hand and goes to pull out a weapon. The general empties the magazine into the Admiral. Volk, he kneels down and yanks Ashray's arm out of his parka. He only has a clenched fist. The general peels his dead fingers back and pulls a red flash drive out of the Admiral's clenched fist.
This better lead me to the Freon stockpile. The things we do for God and country.
Pocketing the red flash drive, Volk looks towards the sound of a helicopter lifting off in the distance.
Blow them out of the sky!
Volk grabs a rocket-propelled grenade launcher, RPG, takes aim, and fires at the helicopter. The RPG zooms away. It explodes near the chopper, spraying it with a cloud of shrapnel.
I'm in command now. Yes! Finally got my own damn command.
The helicopter loses power and struggles to maintain altitude. It disappears from view, over the perimeter wall, belching fire and smoke, crashing in a mushroom cloud of fire and steel. Exterior, Fatherland, night. Racing downrange, Volk plugs the flash drive into a laptop computer, pulls up a map, and points direction for his driver.
Ashray found a new way into the volcano lab. We don't need the access codes. Onward.
A Marine in Volk's vehicle aims his RPG at the darting silhouettes of running MIB. When MIB runs out into the headlights, General Volk hollers at the driver, his aide.
Roadkill.
The general's aide, with a righteous grin, runs over the MIB. Exterior, Fatherland, assembly area, night. The tarmac is empty but for driving snow and sleet. Muted throbbing of a med evac helicopter approaches from and lands. The chopper bay's doors open, and the female medic from the Antarctica rescue jumps out with a medical bag.
Search all the bodies. Hurry.
2 helpers with red-crossed armbands are with her.
Found the satellite phone with the GPS tag we've been tracking.
Helper number 1 finds Ashray and turns him over, searches his parka, and pulls out his sat phone, still in blinking beacon mode.
It was the Admiral tracking signal, all right, except he's stone cold dead.
The medics hustle around, turning bodies over and checking their vital signs.
Got fresh blood coming from the mouth and ears. Over here.
The medic hurries over. It's Waco. She feels his neck.
No pulse. Give me a hand here. We might be able to save this one.
The medic rips Waco's shirt open and listens to his chest with a stethoscope.
He's bad off. Real bad.
Helper number 2 pulls out electroshock paddles and a voltage charger.
Hurry, the solar flare's coming.
The medic jolts Waco with the electroshock paddles. Zap! Waco startles awake. The medic pulls out a pre-filled syringe.
Antibiotics. Say ouch.
She plunges the needle into his arm. Waco musters a smile.
You're on borrowed time. Semper Fi. Make the most of it.
They help Waco to his feet and towards the med-evac chopper. Exterior, Ross Sea, coastline, day. It's dawn now, but still very dark because of an overcast from the ash cloud. Jaxx huddles under cover, staring out across the ocean at the aircraft carrier, full of lights and sundry aircraft shuttling survivors from the mainland. Exterior, Ross Sea, coastline, day, later. A chopper lifts off from Fatherland and heads towards the USS Invictus. Jaxx fires a flare pistol. The chopper lands nearby. Heavy snow falls, except it's not snow. It's gray volcanic ash that turns black when it hits the ground and gets wet. Crew members help Jaxx into the chopper. Interior, med-evac helicopter, day. Throughout this scene, medics shuttle a steady stream of wounded into the chopper bay. As Jaxx steps back into the crew's cabin, Waco's there, looking half dead. Jaxx rushes to his side.
Need to get you to a hospital.
Ain't no hospital gonna fix me up. Not no more.
Jaco wrestles away from Jaxx and hobbles toward the pilot's cabin.
A shark dies if it stops swimming. Stand aside. I have to call home E.T.
Waco pats his pockets, checks his backpack.
Did I give you my sat phone? I need to download some data for me to HQ.
She takes the sat phone out of her parka and hands it over. Waco secures the hatch behind him as he steps into the pilot's cabin. Interior, med-evac helicopter, cockpit, continuous, day. Waving for the pilot to ignore him, Waco sits in the co-pilot seat. He turns the sat phone on, speaking quietly into it.
Majestic, are you there?
By your command, Master.
Did you arm the baby nuke when we were in the volcano lab?
Armed, yes. Timer, no. There's insufficient time after. Those men showed up.
Majestic 12 projects a graphic matrix of numbers.
All the launch codes were unlocked.
Affirmative. You still need to give the verbal command to start the countdown timer. Only your voice will work. Saying the magic words.
Anything else to report? Anything suspicious?
Majestic 12 plays back a recording of a Fox News broadcast.
Our nuclear explosion doubled the size of the ozone hole. When the solar flare hits, it will melt the polar ice caps.
Did you run the simulation?
The sat phone projects a 3D map of Antarctica.
Affirmative. 90% probability ocean levels will rise a minimum of 100 feet overnight. Calculations? Severe drain on batteries. Loss of power. Shutting down.
The 3D projection fades to black. Waco turns the device off, staring blankly into space as he mulls over this new information. Interior, med-evac helicopter, continuous, day. Waco, white as a sheet, struggles out of the forward cabin and steps out of the helicopter onto terra firma. Exterior, Ross Sea coastline, continuous, day. Jaxx steps out right behind Waco. They huddle against the fierce wind.
What did NASA tell you?
It's the end of the world.
What's wrong? Tell me.
Waco avoids her eyes, looking every which way but at her.
Back home, on Lake Travis, possum had babies in the tool shed one spring. Adorable little rugrats hanging by their tails all over the garage. Beady little mouse eyes.
That's cold. The wounds. Are you in the throes of deathbed flashbacks?
Waco registers her face and shakes his head violently.
I've destroyed the world!
What? You're making no sense.
The penguins would be destroyed.
Beat.
Humanity.
What? Explain!
Jaxx shines a powerful beam into their environs. There's a long line of penguins watching from a ridge nearby. Zeppo is way out in front of the others, fat and happy, flapping his wings when he sees Waco.
Relax. Deep breath. Your penguin friends are out there. Happy, healthy, fine.
The solar flare hasn't gotten here yet.
Waco chokes up, tears gushing down his cheeks as he waves goodbye to Zeppo and all his penguin friends.
Doesn't look good, little buddy. We have one last chance.
The sky erupts with a spectacular display of the Aurora Australis.
That's UV energy grounded on the Aurora Australis, the southern lights. The solar flare's close. Probably only a few minutes away.
Upset, Jaxx pushes away from him.
No way your ozone experiment stopped all that. Sure did. Sure it did.
Pain. Extreme pain. Clears the head every time. For a while.
Waco stares at the Aurora Australis.
The jet stream is sucking up the ash and spreading it around the South Pole in a great big vortex.
Smoke purging from the Thunderdome spreads out into swirling patterns when it reaches the stratosphere.
Look! They know what's coming.
The penguins slip, slide, and dive into the ocean.
The solar flare? Where? Where the hell is it? Where? This is maddening.
Run, Jaxx, run!
Urgently, Waco pulls Jaxx into the medevac chopper. The chopper powers up and flies away at top speed as chunks of burning lava stones rain down. Interior, medevac helicopter, cockpit, day. The chopper flies a few feet above the ocean surface, fighting heavy winds and ocean spray. The chopper pilot stares out the window at the volcanic fireworks, looking very grim. The pilot's communication display lights up, and she puts it on speakerphone.
General Volk, we read you loud and clear. Do you have a status report?
We're at the entrance of the volcano lab now, inside. Ashray gave me a map to get there. Oh my God, look at all the Freon canisters.
You got inside. Awesome.
Ashray's map. Then he ordered me to evacuate all the Freon. No effing way, there are hundreds of barrels, thousands.
Waco and Jaxx see the ground crater around the dome, leaving Fatherland as an island in a lake of burning lava.
That much Freon will obliterate the ozone layer up there above us.
Screams and sounds of terror come through the phone. Waco grabs the microphone.
Blow up the Freon, General. Blow it up now!
That's unconscionable. I can't just destroy the ozone layer. My kids will skin me alive.
Freon is 4 times heavier than air, General. Release the Freon and it'll stay right there. The volcano will burn it all up before it damages the ozone layer.
The line breaks off. Dead. Waco keeps talking into the static.
Find the wooden crate, General. Now! NASA markings. Hurry!
I'm by the crate. Now what?
Hold your phone by the crate. Sound turned up maximum.
Beat.
Roger that.
Trump. Burisma. Biden.
The connection breaks off.
Now we just have to wait and see if it went to countdown.
Exterior, U.S. carrier, flight deck, day. There's a broken rim of brightness on the horizon now, what's left of daytime. Waco, Jaxx, and a few Navy personnel watch as Mount Terror smokes at first, then bubbles lava, then blows its top with a massive expulsion of lava and fire.
It's not going to be enough. We need that Freon.
What's the Freon gonna do? There's not even that much of it in the grand scale of things.
Ice cold Freon plus boiling hot lava equals major weather event. What with all the moisture in the air right now? Think giant thunderstorm. Maybe even a tornado. Exactly what we need to pump the atmosphere full of ashes.
What used to be the HELSTAF dome is now a giant lake of boiling, molten lava.
The volcano's erupting, but the ice and water are cooling the lava, preventing it from escalating into a full-blown eruption. S-H-I-T.
He's right. The Thunderdome's still there. Not the least bit damaged. Not even the Nazis were that good.
It's blocking the caldera. The volcano can't throw up enough ash into the atmosphere to cover up the South Pole from all satellite observations.
Cover up? What? From who? What the hell is going on here?
Suddenly, a giant plume of smoke and fire a mile across erupts into the sky and spreads out from horizon to horizon in a giant mushroom cloud. A colossal vortex forms, gains mass, and grows. The thrashing arms of wind plugs holes in the sides, building up weak spots, like a giant fire monster building a nest of stone and magma.
This is way beyond fake news. This is fake science. How dare you?
The HELSTAF caldera is now a full-blown volcano, belching an enormous plume of thick smoke and suspended ash clear up to the stratosphere, covering the sky from horizon to horizon. The brightness on the horizon fades into an ominous black, but for the radiant red from the furious magma exploding in great plumes 10,000 feet high. Flashes of fire and flames, lava, and jetting fire from the new volcano caldera light up the dark sky.
Look at all the ash. The South Pole will be covered in no time. We're saved. Thank God we're saved.
Bolts of energy rip through the sky, covering furious lightning strikes. Flaming balls of light and lightning strike all around Waco and Jaxx, leaving pools of burning metal on the flight deck. Everybody runs for cover.
Run, Waco. Try at least.
Waco hobbles along on his crutches. Jaxx wraps one of Waco's arms around her shoulder and helps him towards the conning tower.
The solar flare just got here.
Waco and Jaxx zigzag through the lightning strikes. Waco gets weaker by the second, eyes fluttering.
It did not. Where's the scathing heat, the blinding light?
Waco loses his balance. Jaxx catches him awkwardly and tries to steady him. He yells to her, hoarse.
My ozone experiment worked. It blocked all the high-energy UV radiation.
OMG. And the ash cloud blocked out all the long wavelength energy. We did it! Hallelujah.
She gives him a bear hug, smothers him with kisses. He tries to push her away, then gives in and takes it. A massive ball of lightning hits the conning tower, shorting out all the lights on the aircraft carrier. The night is dark except for random blips of light in the sky, pinheads of color washing across the heavens and waves of sporadic aurora australis. The lightning storm moves out to sea, away from the aircraft carrier. Figures with powerful flashlights hustle out onto the flight deck, searching. They spot Waco and Jaxx. He's numb to her embrace now, arms limp and lifeless. Horrified, she lowers his lifeless form to the flight deck. The flashlights approach Jaxx. Sailors gather around, hoist Waco up, and hurry him away in a fireman's carry.
Jesus, he hardly has a pulse.
The last vestiges of the cosmic lightning storm disappear over the horizon. Suddenly there's a roar overhead. All hands hold on as the medevac chopper lands nearby.
It's no use. He's gone.
They lower Waco to the deck as the lady medic jumps out of the chopper and rushes forward, doctor's bag in hand. She kneels beside Waco and gives him a quick evaluation.
Is he dead? We just got over all that science crap, starting to get down to business. Damn it! We've got to get him to the medical facilities at McMurdo Sound. Relax, Agent Jackson. Nobody ever died of stomach ulcers.
The sailors help the lady medic get Waco, still babbling like a madman, onto a stretcher, and they hurry him towards the medevac chopper. Everybody else on the flight deck stares at the mainland. Fatherland is still there, unaffected by the volcanic eruption. An announcement blares over the ship-wide comm system. A radio announcement, loud and clear now.
NASA has announced the danger from the solar flare has passed. Martial law has been suspended worldwide. All ground and GPS satellite communications will soon be back to normal.
Suddenly, a muffled explosion happens inside HELSTAF, and torrents of steam vent from a ring of volcano tubes around the entire Fatherland complex of buildings. The steam hits the icy air and condenses into a terrific blizzard, covering the air with heavy, thick snow.
In other news, China reports its satellite was destroyed by the solar flare before it became operational.
Soon, HELSTAF disappears under a mountain of snow, then every last trace of Fatherland. The vents shut down. All is quiet. A feeble winter sun breaks through overcast.
The U.S. Space Command's ground-based laser ranging system, however, gathered a great deal of information on the extreme solar event. The Pentagon announced today that all their raw data would be available soon for scientists to analyze as soon as they process it.
Jaxx watches as they load Waco's stretcher into the medevac helicopter. She turns away, fighting a wave of indecision. The chopper powers up, the rotor slowly spinning up to speed.
Then who fired the HELSTAF laser in the beginning? Oh God, that orange control box was a remote control!
Jaxx kicks up her heels and runs to board the medevac flight. The crew members wave her off. Jaxx flashes her ID.
I'm the law down here.
An MP shows up to block her from boarding. Jaxx decks him with a quick judo move. She grabs his service revolver, cocks it, aims, and finally, they allow her to board. Interior, medevac chopper. Exterior, carrier deck, day. Jaxx jumps into the chopper, looks around. Waco's not there. She turns to leave, but it's too late. The chopper is already lifted off. She stares at the cargo bay door as an aircraft carrier recedes from view. Waco's there, hobbling around on crutches.
He's up and walking now? OMG. The James Bond Long Johns.
Beat.
He wasn't afraid of that electric voltage. That's how we put in a new charge on his precious pajamas.
Waco stops at an Apache helicopter covered in gray ashes and black soot, followed from the volcanic eruption. The crew helps him into the cargo bay. The chopper lifts off immediately, banks, and skims just above the water, heading into a heavy fog bank. Exterior, Ross Bay, day. As the chopper scoots over the ocean, barely above the ocean spray, the fog and water spray wash the gray ashes and black soot off. Underneath, the helicopter is all black. In a very thick fog, the black chopper hovers over a black destroyer and sets down on a helicopter pad. Exterior, Ross Bay, Black Dragon warship, continuous. The warship immediately goes to flank speed, heading past an outcropping and out of visual range. 2 crew members rush to help Waco out of the chopper. Jackie and Bruce give Waco a sharp salute as they help him onto his crutches. Waco gives Jackie a wry smile.
Who wears lipstick on a secret mission to the South Pacific?
Who noticed? Hey, she didn't.
Waco is evasive, avoiding eye contact.
Why didn't you bring her along? Does she even know who we are?
She's the law. We got no business inviting the law here. Full steam ahead! Let's get the hell out of here!
They hustle towards the bridge. Right before he disappears, Waco pauses to stare at the Black Dragon's flag flying above the conning tower. He renders a lazy salute and disappears. Fade out. The end.